You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD, joined this week by our full crew, Chris Triplett, Chris McFeely, and Nicole Hale. Welcome, gang.
Welcome.
Yes. So, it is Fanboy Versus as we dive into the controversy that is Superman GD and the rest of the New 52. So, let's start with that, shall we? So, Superman, Action Comics. We'll get into the review at the end of the show. There was a bit of a titter on Twitter and other places this week.
You made a rhyme.
I did. It's almost like I'm a pro. But, so, and I heard this before, like, I didn't get to read Superman right away, but I did hear, like, this rumblings of something GD with Superman. So, I didn't even, wow, people. Let's just say wow. So, here's the deal. In the comic, I'm sure you've all read Action. If you didn't, why not? But there's a part in the comic where Superman is, I don't know, throwing a demolition ball or something, and something explodes. And there's a word bubble, and the word bubble says GD. No periods, no abbreviation. Just it says the letters GD. Yep. Now, if you're crazy and conservative, you might think that means something else, or maybe general public. I'm sure that general people got confused as far as what that was. Apparently, people in North Carolina,
Sorry,
very confused. So, was this the person that was leading a boycott? In fact, over this,
there was a comic shop. I can't remember the name of the shop, but
the comic conspiracy.
Yeah. They read this and then like they canceled their orders for number 2 and 3.
Are you kidding me?
It said that if you want Action Comics, you're welcome to go to another store, but our comic shop won't be carrying it.
Now, folks.
Oh my gosh.
Now, folks.
Really?
Here's the deal, and the word came down from Grant Morrison.
I can't believe Grant Morrison actually deigned to reply to such.
I know, but I think that there was. I'm sure that may have come from DC. They may have said, "Look, Grant, please,
maybe
just explain this."
The tone.
I think it was from DC. I think DC made.
I am sure DC was like, "Look, you've got to put this out because this is so stupid." Anyway, so here's the deal. It was not words. It was an exclamation. This happens in comics. It was like it was a grunt. It was
like nobody was like claiming like Christianity was being bashed when Batman was getting kapow in his comics, you know.
Yeah. So.
The most fundamentally, and I choose that word deliberately, ridiculous thing in the whole thing was like this guy freely admitted to selling Crossed and Preacher and any number of other books that one might possibly consider offensive to those with gentler sensibilities. But it was this specific instance because he mistakenly believed Superman was saying GD, that's short form God damn, that Superman was taking the Lord's name in vain. This was the book that he decided to take a stand over.
Yeah. And is Superman even Christian?
I believe he would be.
I honestly believe that he believes in Rao to the full ability of his.
But it's the fact that this lunatic was saying things like it was a slap in the face to his history and a slap in the face to his creators. You know, his Jewish creators.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, and I guess they wouldn't say that either, but I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, what did we learn here, kids? Be clearer with your exclamations, okay?
If I heard correctly, the funny thing is, though, that after DC issued that statement, the comic shop said, okay, fine, we'll order issue 2 and 3, thanks.
Well, yeah, so, that's a little...
His Facebook page became something of a target immediately following, and I admit I made a post or two on there before he locked it out so that people couldn't... perfectly reasoned points. No aggression here. Sure, when have you ever known me to get angry?
No.
Oh yes, you are the calmest person I know.
Oh yeah. Never.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, but he's come to the conclusion now that he won't be stalking Crossed or Preacher or anything else with offensive sensibilities, so that he can maintain his sense of fucking ethics.
So that he can, i.e., go out of business. So
Gosh.
whatever. I mean, hey, whatever. I mean, it's like I'm not gonna tell retailers what to put on the shelves, and if they're gonna,
I'm not gonna, if your beliefs are your beliefs, and if you want to run your business according to your beliefs, I'm not gonna stop you, certainly not. But I think you'll find that you'll lose custom.
I think so, and it's just, I mean, again, it's ultimately ridiculous, especially, I don't know, especially overreacting on an assumption. I mean, that's the whole thing right here. I mean, it essentially acted on an assumption on what they were reading and then
It's like you have
extrapolated
to
from
not
there.
read a Grant Morrison comic to understand that those are grunts.
Right.
That Grant Morrison. That's how it's like, somebody posted on it before it was locked down. Oh, it's everybody saying it's a grunt. What's wrong with you? Grunts are or gruff or things like that.
Depends on who's writing it, though.
Yeah.
The Facebook page had been locked by that point, so I was going to reply, please read a Grant Morrison comic, thank you and good night. But it was locked. It's like that's just how Grant Morrison is. It's like he had a big thing about Batman going, which is HH, or Damien going, which is TT. That's Grant. And there's a few examples of it in the very issue itself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think so don't assume, kids. That's all we can tell you. Don't assume.
Now, how do you spell that?
GD.
But Mark Waid dug up the most fantastic old thing from like an old Silver Age issue of Superman, which was called The Hunt for GD.
Yeah.
A classic Silver Age Superman story where they wrote a story without using letters D or G, except once. And readers had to find the one instance of the letters of the story or something like that. And like, brilliant.
Hilarious.
Only Mark Waid would find that, would be able to dig that up.
Of course.
Okay, now, before we leave this real quick, how come nobody got mad when All-Star Batman and Robin came out and you had Batman who instantly became known as GD Batman? Why did anybody get mad about that?
Well, because this is genuinely an instance, all joking aside, of this guy choosing to view Superman in a certain light. Superman is the perfect superhero. So as far as this guy is concerned, that involves the reflection of Christian morality.
Yeah.
And he actively viewed it as like that vision of Superman that he had actively being broken down, even though, that's not what it is. And particularly not in the case of Action Comics, because it's a ground-up total... that's not what this Superman is.
No.
So,
no, we'll definitely, and then again, we'll be talking about that at the end of the show. This is...
to take action with that notion, you certainly can. But, pick on one of the actual accurate representations of that approach that are in the comic instead of one you've completely invented.
Maybe he needed to wait until the Superman comic came out that George Perez is doing. Maybe that's his book. I don't know.
So anyway, that's a good time. Anything else? There's no any.
No, that's really it.
news.
Though. That's all the
That was
news.
the big
really.
news.
Like I said, they had to get a second printing of Ninja Turtles. Yay! You guys like this?
Maybe I can find the second printing.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Maybe you can get
I
that
won't
now.
be able to. I can't get Turtles in the UK.
Oh no! Did you get boomed? You got boomed
Because-
again?
Because they have ninja in the title instead of hero.
Right.
Yeah.
We all know that ninjas fight
It's,
angels and therefore can't be in. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Michelangelo has nunchucks. That's a problem, also, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just IDW have the same thing they did. Same with Doctor Who, and it's the same with Ghostbusters as well. They don't have the license to sell those titles in the UK, so I can't get them.
Wait. They don't have the license to sell Doctor Who.
I know. It's
Wow.
just that ridiculous. I think everybody.
Okay, That's definitely the biggest thing I've learned this week.
There you go. Well, I guess that's not so surprising since it's more of like a UK property. I'm sure there's
There are
company
there
over
are
there
also,
that-
like, magazines about Doctor Who. I don't know if that's anything to do with it or not, because there's certainly no Ghostbusters UK magazines. I don't think there's a Turtles one anymore either. So it's just rights and licenses. It's like, you know what? Dreamwave, even Dreamwave managed to tidy this up when they couldn't fucking sell Transformers comics in the UK. They went out of their way. They sorted that problem out in the span of a couple of months after they found out about it. IDW have made no strides to do so at all.
So that's the most positive thing you could ever say about Dreamwave.
That's yeah. I think that is the only
That's the
positive
only.
thing that you can say about Dreamwave. What a prick. Anyway, so well, hey, this 52 thing, it's happening for real. And
I heard that.
we're talking about most of that, I guess. That's most of our reviews this week. So
Well, we don't have anything but, do we?
not really. I mean, I read
nothing worth talking about at
no.
length.
I mean,
Yeah,
New
I got
Avengers.
some Marvel comics, but I didn't
You know,
read them.
the New Avengers annual happened, and that was sort of like, okay, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. But
Punisher came out. Punisher fought the new Vulture.
did he talk?
He said, "Rob, kill Punisher," or something
Not
like
the
that.
Vulture.
No, I mean, did the Punisher talk?
I
Did
always
the-
read my Dark Tower first. That's what I read. So
Nicole, after I probably listened to your review like 4 times in the process of editing the show, and I want you to, from here on out, find the most horrible, obscure one issue that you can find, so that we can
well, I did
review
that
it.
with the Bigfoot. Don't you remember? What was it? The Sasquatch
God, yeah.
one?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it is broadcasting gold. If you've not listened to last week's show, do yourself a favor, and if do nothing else, just fast forward up to the review, because I laughed every time I watched it. I
Angels
just could
versus
not.
Ninjas.
Come
You
on.
gotta watch last week's episode to find out why we want a Michael Knight comic so bad.
That's right.
And my biggest blonde moment I've had probably in the past year. Oh my gosh. What?
I don't even-
Spider-Man have 8 comics?
Oh, that was good too, but I don't even remember that. That wasn't important. What was important is Christopher Walken and Michael
Oh.
Knight. So, anyway, we're not worried about your mistakes, Nicole. We're worried about the other. funny
That's why
things.
you have me here. I'm the mistake.
No,
Bring it-
that's what I'm saying. You bring good stuff.
I
To this show.
accept that challenge. Every week I'll find the most obscure piece of crap out there and review it for you.
Sounds good to me. We'll go with it. Okay.
This
Mr. Bake,
message.
but
Yes. Believe me, the people that sell those obscure one issues will be happy that you bought them. Yay, someone in Utah bought our comic.
I mean, in a strange way, we're giving them coverage. It's not positive coverage, but we're giving them
Well,
coverage.
hey, there's no such thing as bad PR.
you know what? Someone probably went out and bought it just to see Angel be killed by a ninja. Come on.
Right.
Who would
Exactly.
want to see?
Yeah.
Alrighty then. So we're gonna try to not have a ridiculously long show. I don't feel good that that's not gonna happen anyway, but we're gonna try for it nonetheless. So let's get started. Jump in. New 52. What do you have for us, Triplet?
Hey, well, I'm going to talk about Detective Comics, but before I do that, I'll just come in and talk about Stormwatch real quick. Got Stormwatch #1. I used to really like the Authority and Stormwatch type characters, and I thought, well, hey, I'll give it a try. It's got Martian Manhunter in it. I wanted to know why is Martian Manhunter there? The books.
Why
it's
not? Why not? He has
Because after the New 52 characters got disseminated, they're like, oh crap, we didn't put Manhunter anywhere.
I mean, 'cause I look at this cover and I think, okay, there's Apollo, there's Midnighter, and there's Martian Manhunter, and he looks kind of out of place. He just kind of looks shoehorned in.
Is it
There's another Stormwatch character that should be there, like Jack Hawksmoor or something, and then they just put Martian Manhunter over it. And I thought, well, if I read it, maybe it would make sense and he would fit. And other than the fact that there's like kind of extraterrestrial type stuff in it, no, he kind of just doesn't seem like he's in place.
Nice.
Didn't care for.
I mean, as I understand it now, isn't this basically, of everything that we've seen this week, this is the one where it's like clean slate, start again. Nothing from the Authority matters here.
Yeah, because like the whole point of the issue is they're looking for Apollo because they're looking for another member to join Stormwatch, and they have file footage of him fighting Superman and actually beating him. And they think, okay, we need somebody that level of power, and they go to find him, and he basically, he blows them off and says, "Hey, I don't want to be a superhero. That's not me." And we if you've read Authority, if you've read Stormwatch, you know basically the relationship between Apollo and Midnighter. They just meet at the end of this issue, so yeah, this is like a fresh start, which was interesting, that they would do that. But it's not bad. I mean, it's Paul Cornell craziness. You've read Paul Cornell, so you know how that goes. So it's good, but it just didn't knock my socks off. So it didn't make me want to go and start buying it regularly. I bought it just to try it out because I wanted another 52 book. So I thought, hey, Stormwatch, try it. It's not bad, but I can't say that it's the best book that I read. That's it.
Do you see this one continuing?
I don't know. I kind of was thinking that might be one of the books that might not make it.
Cancel 26.
I mean, because like other than Warren Ellis and Mark Miller, I mean, when would you ever have wanted to read Stormwatch or The Authority? I mean, that's the two times I ever.
Martian Manhunter there. Come on, hello.
Yeah, got Martian Manhunter in there. I kind of have a feeling he's not going to be in that book long, though.
I have a feeling he's not going to be in pretty much anywhere.
I kind of have a feeling that he might show up in Justice League International at some point.
I could get behind that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's a book. On to Detective Comics, number 1. Woohoo! Written
Wish I picked this one.
written by Tony S. Daniel, which I am not the biggest fan of Tony Daniel's writing. Now, he also does the art, which I do like his art, and I think his art looks nice. I mean, look at the cover. That's a pretty cool looking cover.
I thought he really, really brought his A game on the art of this issue.
Oh yeah, the art was great. I mean, if you just like the art, the first page is look at the detail on the first pages of this guy that's been poisoned by Joker venom. I mean, look at that. That's cool looking. I mean, it's really detailed. It's really nice. And then you've got I think this is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, it's how do I even start? It's Batman, and I kind of was thinking that we would get just like a lot of the DC New 52 that we might be getting like the first stories, or we might be getting like early adventures of Batman. And this might be kind of because it's like he's met the Joker before. He's definitely had cases that involved the Joker before. But it seems like it may be still sort of kind of an early, like not like, Batman's been fighting Joker for years and years. It might seem like maybe he's only been fighting Joker for like a little while. I mean, did you read it, McFeely? Did you?
I gave it a look over repeatedly.
Yeah, because like at the
good
beginning,
seller.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. It begins off. He's basically, he's trying to find the Joker. He says he starts off with like, this great 2-page spread, and he's like talking, or he's like, inner monologuing, and he's saying he's the worst kind of killer, one with no true patterns. That is until a spate of grisly murders started popping up last month. All of the bodies were found mutilated, organs removed. And it kind of makes you think that maybe it was Joker that had done this. But then he keeps on talking, and he says that these were all suspected friends of the Joker's. And then you kind of are left thinking, well, is it the Joker, or is it maybe like a murder case that's just, involving the Joker? We get to see the Joker in his apartment, and it looks like he's being attacked by some guy. And you'll notice that the guy that he's choking at the top of the issue is wearing something on his face. And it looks like he's wearing skin, like human skin, as a mask. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty gruesome... I mean, it's pretty dark. I mean, like, if you were hoping, like, Batman was going to come back and Batman was going to be, like, brave and the bold and punching people and hammers of justice and all that, it's not happening. Batman's just as dark, and this one's... in some ways, a little darker, I think, than some of the more recent Batman comics I've been reading.
Yeah, I got that vibe, definitely.
Yeah. Because, like, this guy that was attacking Joker, Joker, fights him off and takes a knife and, like, repeatedly, stabs the dude to death. There's, like, a panel. He says something about, The guy says, I'm your biggest fan, talking to the Joker. I'm a huge fan of yours, your biggest. And Joker's like, why, thank you. And he's like, ha ha ha. Allow me to sign my name for you then, over and over and over. And he just stabs the dude to death.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he just cuts him to pieces. And then Batman, of course, jumps in, to think he's going to finally catch the Joker. And the Joker throws a bomb at him. There's an explosion. Looks like the Joker gets away. But in the apartment, before Batman can run after him, Batman thinks he's got him. He says, Joker runs away, and he's like, I finally got him. I'm closest I've ever caught him. And then Batman finds like a young girl that's in his apartment, and he can't jump after Joker. He has to save her or kind of help her. So the Joker, of course, gets away. We get the cops show up, and things aren't too rosy between Batman and the cops. So we're basically back to Batman as an outlaw. Cops are trying to shoot him on sight, which we saw a little bit of that at the beginning of Justice League. But we know that Justice League, as we read it, started 5 years ago. I'm assuming this is not 5 years ago. I'm assuming this is, today.
It's really hard to say.
It's hard to say, but I was just assuming it because they never said in this issue. I mean, it could be, like you said, it could be, a past story. But I would think that if you're going to reintroduce Batman, it makes a little bit sense to put him in as like he's more of the outlaw. He's more of not the cops aren't like eating donuts with him and drinking coffee. The cops are trying to catch him and shoot him because he's a vigilante.
Well, I do believe there's a film. There's some sort of little film coming up very soon with that sort of premise to it.
Seems that way. Yeah.
So Joker gets away from the cops, and one of the helicopters. One of the police helicopters has, of course, Jim Gordon in it, and we get to see him again. And he looks much younger now. He's got the
red hair.
It's like Batman Year One, Gordon. So I don't know. It may be an early adventure.
It's got to be earlier because even based on stuff that happened in GLI, it would seem that Batman was a little bit more legit in the current timeline.
I mean, because Gordon in this issue, he's friends with Batman. I mean, they have a relationship.
Well.
He's got the bat signal. I mean, he trusts him, it seems like. But he's like, he can't, the cops don't trust him, of course. Of course, he's a vigilante in their eyes. So Batman escapes. Look, the Batmobile. I don't know if this is a new version of the Batmobile, or is that the Dick and Damian version?
God knows.
I don't know. It's got the kind of red-looking window and stuff. See, I was kind of wondering when I got the issue. I was like, are they going to change the Batmobile up too, since everything's new 52? Is it going to be like this brand new car? And I can't really tell.
The Batmobile looks different nearly every time it appears.
Yeah, really. They changed that thing.
It stopped. It's like Iron Man. It stopped having a solid design years ago.
Yeah, it changes like underwear. It's just.
It does, but I think it sort of looks like the Dick and Damian, kind of flying does anything you want it to do Batmobile, just because of that red window that it's got. So Batman goes back to the cave, and looks like we get introduced to Alfred. He's there. The Batcave has holograms, so like the cave entrance is actually hidden with holograms.
Ooh.
Technology. I wonder if this guy's rich.
I bet he's loaded.
He's loaded. So like Batman, he talks a little bit about the Joker, and there's a little discussion between Alfred and Batman about a girl, like a girlfriend that Bruce has, where he's missed a date with her, and he says, "Oh Charlotte, I forgot we had a date tonight. Send her something nice for me. Write her my deepest apologies." And it's basic Batman stuff. The Batman thing takes over. The Bruce Wayne life, it's backseat. It's basic stuff we've seen all over the place. We get a little scene with Gordon with the bat signal. Like I said, he's got it, and he's talking to Batman. They talk about Joker. How the kid that Joker had in his apartment. The cops, they took her in and helped her out, and she mentioned that the Joker had said something about where he's living. He mentioned something about staying in an apartment above like a pharmacy. It says above the Roscoe Pharmacy. And then just in Batman fashion, he leaves before Gordon can finish his sentence. Oh, didn't see that coming. But yeah, the art, like I said again, the art's great. I mean, I love the art in this book. If Tony Daniel wants to keep doing the art, and honestly, after reading it, if he wants to keep writing it, I'm fine with both. Because it's not bad. I mean, it feels like Batman. I mean, it's not like the best of the DC 52 books that I read, but it definitely wasn't the worst.
I've got a guy who's a dyed-in-the-wool Tony Daniel hater. He hates Tony Daniel from his earliest work.
I don't have a problem with him, especially when I look at this and I think back, was it Dark Child that he started with?
Holy God, that's dire. Yeah,
yeah, because I mean that was a long time ago. I'm really showing my age when it comes to comics, but
no, but I showed him.
Different.
Oh yeah, but he's maintained his hatred of Tony Daniel all through the years anyway. But this week, I had a large excess number of Detective Comics because it's Batman, so I wanted to try and upsell it to lots of casual customers, and it succeeded, sold out of it. But I showed him a copy, and I said, his art's a lot better than you remember. Showed him the double-page spread of Batman. He was like, it is quite nice. And I said, what I'm going to do now? I showed him the last page of the comic. Now, we haven't got there yet, but I showed him the last page of the comic, and his response was, what the fuck? All right, I'm buying that now. I did it on one or two other people over the course of the.
It does have a good ending. I mean, it does have a shocking ending, but
we'll get there in a minute.
We'll get there, yeah. So like Batman goes looking for the Joker because, like I said, the little girl mentioned that hey, he's living in this apartment, and as Batman's going and looking, he's again inner monologuing just like he does, and says something's not right. The Joker doesn't just throw out his hiding place in casual conversation, not unless he had purpose behind it. Something's up his sleeve, but what? A trap? Some kind of game. So the cops went to this apartment looking for him, and that's where we get to see Bullock. Harvey Bullock's in it. Yay! Yay, Bullock. I don't know. When was the last time we saw Bullock? I mean, I don't even remember when he showed up, but I'm glad he's back because I like him. So the cops are going to jump into the apartment and they're going to take the Joker because, and Batman's looking through the window and he sees him sitting at a chair, just sitting there, and he keeps saying, "Hey, something's not right here." And so he's got magnifying glasses in his cowl, in his eyepieces. So he looks closer, and you can see that there's like a cord behind him, like a doll's cord. And the cops don't see it, of course. And the cops go in, and put a gun behind him and say, "On the floor, freak now, or I'll blow your head clean off. You hear me?" And then we turn the page, and then the head pops off. It is a doll. Oh. And it's a bomb, and there's like a huge explosion. And I guess some cops get blown up. It looks like because they were in the building with him. And obviously, yeah, it was a trap. And Batman's like thinking, okay. Those men are all dead. Yeah, they are dead. Okay, those men are all dead. A crowd gathering, looking at all of them. So like the crowd's like looking at the explosion, except for one, and he notices a guy in a purple coat that's walking away. And Batman talks about how I've trained myself to always look for the anomaly in times of crisis. The first instinct of an innocent person in a crisis is to gauge his own safety. The next instinct is curiosity. The third is voyeurism. Do I want to watch this disaster unfold? A guilty person does one thing, flee. And then like the Joker's like trying to get to like a subway train, it looks like. So like Batman goes after him. Joker gets on the subway train. There's this little girl on the train just talking about how this guy scares me, and her mom says don't stare, and she says but I'm scared of him. Then don't look at him is what the mom says. But he looks like a monster, and you think that she's talking about the Joker, and then she says, a giant Batman monster. And then Joker turns around, and you've got Batman there on the subway train waiting for him. He says, this is your stop, Joker. Everyone else find an exit quickly.
What are you telling me this isn't? I thought this wasn't Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, really.
Stop, Joker.
So they basically have like a big fight where like on the train, which goes on to the top of the train, and they fall off of it. There's this great little scene where everything that Joker's got a gun and shoots. Batman just punches him in the face, knocks the gun out of the way. He mentioned he has a knife that like winds up in his shoulder. It looks like, and he says never saw the blade. And then he has a blade that winds up in his chest, and then he says the second one either. No vital organs, but the pain is searing, and the Joker's just attacking him with these knives. So it's basically a knockdown, drag-out fight where they're just beating the hell out of each other. and it leads up with the Joker, Batman just like throwing the Joker off of the top of this building. It looks like, and it looks like he's gonna fall to his death, but he hits a couple of things on the way down and winds up in, I don't know if it's a trash heap. Looks like a trash heap or something. Something breaks his fall. So you kind of got that moment where it seemed like, oh, Batman's going to kill him, but he doesn't. And then Batman like winds up on over him and says, "You'll live, Joker." And Joker's like, "Hey, what a fun ride." And then Batman just punches him again, and he says, "Time for another." You know,
God for another.
time for another.
Hammers of justice.
Hammers of justice. So like the Joker, of course, winds up in Arkham Asylum. You know, they're gonna, of course, put him there. But then the book gets to the ending. While the Joker's locked up in Arkham, there's
I
a
guess we
knocking
should
in.
announce this is going to be a spoilerific show.
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
this is too good not to talk
Yeah.
about this. I don't want to not talk about this. But yeah, spoilers if you haven't read Detective Comics #1. So Joker's got a knocking at his door, and somebody opens. You don't see who it is. Everything is just sort of in the dark. You basically just mostly see Joker's eyes, you know, where everything's in shadow. And the guy says, "You made it." And Joker says, "I said I would be here." And the Joker says, I commend you on an excellent location for the procedure. I had to be sure you wouldn't send another of your stinking family members. The last one I had to kill," you know, referring to the guy that attacked Joker back at the beginning of the issue. Joker says, "I told you I expected the best. That means only you could touch me." And the guy says, "The man you killed, my son, he was the best. You would have been happy with his work." The Joker says, "Puss, these are my rules. Do you understand the enormity of it all?" So then the guy pulls out a scalpel. And he says, "Oh, yes, I understand perfectly well. Still, we kind of get a reflection of his face. We don't actually see this guy's face." He says, "And that's why I admire most about you. It's why I'm such a big fan of yours." You know, going back to what that guy said at the beginning of the issue that Joker killed. Joker says, "Good now. Get it over with, doll maker." He calls this guy a doll maker. The scene goes completely black. Then someone says, "Okay, then this will only hurt a lot." That's must be the doll maker guy talking. The next scene we see is the Joker's face has been completely cut off. The skin is cut off. It looks like it's hanging on the wall, or maybe it's on the floor. I think it's maybe on the floor. And,
Wait, is there eyes there, or is it just the face?
No.
Oh no, it's
got
like
the
his
skin.
eyebrows. It's the skin. It's his entire skin on his face.
Oh, okay. I couldn't really. That's cool.
The
Shows
Joker
your
says,
mouth, JD.
the Joker says, "That felt fangasmic." And then the dollmaker guy says, "I know it did. Tonight we will both celebrate our rebirth." It ends saying, "Next, enter the dollmaker." I have no idea where they're going with this. But
What?
I know, right?
Well, yeah,
the
just fine.
hell? Oh my god!
I'm sorry. I have to go shit myself. What the hell is that?
When I heard
I
Tony
like
Daniels
this
taking
guy.
over Detective Comics, my first thought was, "Oh no!" I mean, I'm not knocking Tony Daniels, but honestly, Detective Comics is my Batman book, and I would want the A game on my Batman book. I did not think they were getting the A game, and then I read the last page and saw this, and I thought, well, maybe they are getting the A game. I'm interested. I want to know what in the hell's going on.
Don't know anything
Welcome
about this
to the New
doll.
52.
Wow.
I don't know
That's
anything about this doll maker guy yet, but I like the sound of it. It sounds like they've tapped into the very good mania that could make a good Batman villain.
Yes.
I mean,
Dollmaker.
there's echoes of Professor Pig from Morrison's stuff,
Yeah.
because it's just hideous facial tamperings with knives and the juices and the nastiness. But we'll have to see how it goes. But I'm interested.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for the next issue. I mean, I'm so surprised. I was like, it was going to be like one of my books that I wasn't looking forward to, but of course it's Detective Comics. I'm going to buy it. I want to try it out. But I was really surprised. I am looking forward to the next issue.
That sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, I just love the way the Joker looks in this too. I mean, he just kind of has this weird look to it with Tony Daniels' art. I mean, it's cool.
It can be hard to draw a good Joker. You wouldn't think so, but
yeah.
like really, like the best Jokers are, I don't think Jim Lee draws a very good Joker, just as a random
Nah,
choice.
his Joker is I don't know. It's something.
It's hard
it
to
does,
balance it just right with the Joker.
Yeah, and there's the red-hooded girl. I don't know if you can see her. She's in a crowd.
She's there somewhere.
Yeah, she's down there somewhere.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
She is. Yeah.
Um,
There she was.
what?
I know. You should get Detective Comics.
Apparently. Holy hell.
It's
Wow.
definitely been one of the highest rated books that have come out this week.
That's good.
Man, I missed out.
Now that let's see, what is it? Scott Snyder has Batman. He's got to come up to the plate. He's got to do something awesome with that first issue. He does have Greg Capullo doing the art, which I'm really excited about that. But man, he's got to do something. Can't wait for that. That's
Man.
what he's got to.
All right, well,
Wow.
okay.
Yep.
Well, follow that up, Nicole.
Oh God, do I have
Follow
to?
that.
Good luck with that. I'm sure glad I'm not following
I'll
it.
do-
Jeez.
I'll do my quick little summary of a couple that I got. First one is Hawk and Dove. I think I'm the only one that picked this up. The
Yeah.
only reason why I picked this up is because I don't know much about these characters. Pretty much what I know about them came in The Brightest Day. And so I'm like, I should have listened to my comic book guy. He told me, don't bother.
What did
I'm
your
like,
comic guy
Told
say?
you not to bother. Wow.
He's like, don't bother with it. He's like, if you're going to get something out. He told me,
He's,
if you're
he's
gonna
like, number 1 will come out, but you won't see issue 2 for some
Yeah.
reason.
I don't know.
He's like,
Rob Liefeld managed to do a lot of Deadpool cores, so I don't think he'll be to blame if this dies quiet.
Well, because he told me if you're going to get something you don't know a whole lot about, it's going to be Animal Man, which I'll review here. But Hawk and Dove, basically, it was all right. I don't know what really to say. You basically get the idea that Hawk has some bad past with his brother dying, and whose name was Dawn. And
So,
then this
so
girl,
it's not Hawk and Dove like the brothers. It's like Hawk,
Hawk
Hank Hawk, and it's like the girl Dove, right?
Dawn. Yeah, Dawn.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so basically, they have a really good first action sequence in the beginning here where, ironically, since it is September 11th, this is really weird, they have a plane crashing into the DC monument. So I thought that was kind of weird. Because a zombie's on board. And
Oh, well.
yeah, so the very first sequence is really good. But then you come to find out that
Rob Liefeld.
Hawk doesn't want to be
Then Rob Liefeld happened.
paired up with
All I
Dove.
want to know is, did he somehow find a way to sneak Shaft into this comic?
That would be
Young-
Oh, from
awesome.
Youngblood. Fuck. No, wrong Shaft, Nicole. The Shaft you're thinking of would have been awesome. Wrong Shaft, unfortunately.
No, not the awesome Shaft, the crappy Shaft that thinks he's
No.
Green Arrow.
From Youngblood. Shut your
Yeah.
mouth.
Shut your
Oh, no, and then so after this whole incident is over, because Dove really doesn't know how to fly this plane, but she's trying. So it crashes.
Know how to fly? What the hell?
She doesn't know how to fly the plane.
Irony.
I know.
And so you see later on, I can't remember his real name. Like I said, I don't know much
Hank.
about Hank. Yeah, he does not want to be paired up with Dawn. She's not his brother, and then they go into the backstory about him and his brother who used to be the Dove, and how they got their powers. And of course, then you see her story. She doesn't want to be paired up with them either, but somehow they are paired up. And she goes on with Deadman. Deadman makes an appearance here. And it's kind of, I just feel like they're talking about their relationship, blah, blah, blah. And, I felt like I was just watching a teen drama on the second half of the book.
Rob
Yeah.
Liefeld?
Boy.
A shitty comic?
Yeah. Well, they're talking about their relationship, and I'm like, wait, I want to see more action in these comic books.
You don't need action. You need
Yeah.
setup. You need to understand these characters
You
from
need
a very
people with really big
fundamental.
legs.
Obviously, no one paid attention to like Blackest Night or Brightest Day. You have no idea who these characters are or care.
I hope
Yeah.
you like really big
JD,
legs.
I really
because
hope
that's
you're
what's in
not
Rob
ripping
Liefeld.
on character establishment.
Well, the thing is,
No,
I
well,
really like. Like-
I'll get into it with JLI because I have a beef now with the new 52. But anyway,
Well, I got the very last part of the book was kind of interesting because they go back to D.C. by the Washington Monument, and you see this family walking around, and you see the hooded girl in the back. I don't know if you can see that or not.
She's
She's
hard to miss. Nobody else there.
yeah. So there's only two people, and the one kid's like, oh, holy. It doesn't say what's that smell, and then all of a sudden you see the zombie coming out of the. Okay, that was the best part of the comic. Yeah.
You know, I think it's kind of funny that Rob Liefeld, this comic artist that was big in the '90s, hasn't really had a big hit in a while. And what does he do when he comes back? He has the villain as a zombie, and zombies were lost popularity like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Good call.
Okay.
See what? Like I said, I never knew anything about their backstory or anything. If you don't know anything about these characters, it's a good backstory, but I don't really see it going anywhere. Unless there's more zombies. I love zombies, so I'd want. So that
Maybe
was
Hawk and Dove can become zombies. Maybe that would be a good book.
Yeah, they should do Hawk and Dove with the other Hawk and Dove as zombies.
Ooh, I got a title for it. Hawk and Dove of the Undead.
Yes. That makes so much sense.
Dove and zombies.
Quick,
Hawk and Dove and zombies.
quick on Green Arrow. Nothing really new with Green Arrow except for he's got a different look.
Dan Jurgens drew it.
So appalled. I'm completely appalled at the lack of beard.
Yeah, no beard, no hoodie thing.
He not learned this lesson. Green Arrow must always have beard unless it's
Well,
Raven the
he's
Bold.
got scruff. He's got the scruff. He's got the 5 o'clock shadow.
What the hell? Some kind of pathetic attempt at marrying the two interpretations. Beard or get the fuck out.
So no hoodie or no hood, no hat. So why do I care?
I've never liked the hood to be, but he doesn't have. It's hood or hat, and he doesn't have
Hood or
either.
hat?
Yeah, no headgear, no beard.
Well, the thing is, he does have a hoodie, but you can tell he has. I don't know if you can see that. He has a
Oh,
hoodie,
you got it pulled up.
but
Okay.
he never puts it on. I don't. He never really.
Smallville's Green Lantern is what it is. And
It
that's
really
why I
is.
Looks like him too.
It
think beard
really.
or GTFO.
They could have. I mean, they might as well just put sunglasses on him. Then
Does he have an electronic device that changes his voice? That's what
that would be awesome. Because that was so pointless too.
No, I'm not Oliver Queen. I'm the Green Arrow.
Yeah, I love that. That was one of the most confusing bits of Smallville. He totally revealed his identity. Everybody knew who the fuck Green Arrow was, and he still used the voice changer thing. It's like, really? Why are you paying the extra money for like the audio people to actually do that augmentation when nobody in the universe thinks it's anybody else?
To debate the logistics of Smallville.
God, yeah, this is a good point.
I'm excited for Green Arrow.
Why are stupid people stupid? I don't understand.
Well, I'm just mystified as to why they allowed JT Kroll to continue writing it when I've never heard a good word said about his Green Arrow.
Yeah.
I would have bought Green Arrow if they would have picked a new creative team.
But how's
Just
Jurgens'
something
art?
fresh.
Come on.
I would have done that.
But how's
In a heartbeat.
Jurgens' art? That's what I really want to know.
Actually,
It's not too bad. There's some panels that are beautiful, and then, like this one where he's busting in. This is great. This is really
Oh,
really
yeah. Classic
beautiful.
Jurgens, too.
Yeah. But there's some that was like very heavily lined, so the shadows are a little off. But
They should have just let him draw JLI. That would have been better.
The art's beautiful. Overall, I mean, you get a close up on his eyes here. It looks pretty
Yeah.
good there. Again,
Classic
no
Jurgens.
big-
Every character looks the same. Okay.
yeah.
Totally could be
It's like
boosted.
Superman. It's like Superman or Doomsday. That's like it, right?
That looks like
one or the other.
that version without the beard and stuff. That totally looks like some kind of weird combination of Rip and Booster.
Awesome.
It really,
Look like Booster,
it really
doesn't he?
it really looks like it really looks like if Rip was young and blonde. That's really what he would look like. So
No,
yeah.
that's what I really did. I really did miss the beard and a little bit longer hair. I mean, I missed the classic
you
look.
gotta have the beard.
Yeah, he's
I
got to have the
know.
beard.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe he'll something bad will happen and he'll grow a beard and then it'll be like, oh god, I can't believe that happened. Now I got a beard.
No, if he grows a beard, he becomes evil. Cartoons have taught me that.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll talk about the one that I was really surprised with. This is the one my comic book guy, Animal Man. He's one. This is one that
I've heard this is the one to watch. I've heard this
Yeah,
is
I've
a
heard
good
good things
Yeah.
about it.
because I can't even remember the last time I heard about Animal Man in the comic book? I mean, I've heard of him, but I can't remember the last time.
He was
You guys-
he
was
was
in
in
52.
he was in a deleted scene from Blackest Night. He was in like that special
Okay.
edition Blackest Night that they
Was
did.
he fighting dead animals or something? I don't know.
Yes.
Zombie
Probably,
animals?
yeah.
I think so, actually.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I'm like, I know I've heard of him, but it's been a long time. So it was Blackest Night, huh? That
Well,
a
he
few
was
years-
he wasn't in the
Wasn't he
proper
even?
series. It was like a deal that they released later of stuff, I guess cut ideas or stuff.
They did a Last Days of Animal Man miniseries set in the future a year or two ago. I think the last thing he was in that mattered, the last thing that was in continuity was probably Countdown to Mystery while Countdown was going on. Not Mystery, Adventure, Countdown to Adventure.
Yeah, 52 was like one of the only things I've even read with Animal Man. I mean, I've completely missed Animal Man in his entire existence. I knew he
Yeah.
existed, I just never read him.
See, that's the thing. That's how I know I've heard of him before, but I can't remember the last time I even read anything about him. But see, that's where it starts off with. He's trying to be the average family man at the beginning. So you see his wife in the background cooking, and he's looking at he just recently did a movie, and he's been working as a stunt double as well. He's just trying to be the everyday man, and then his little girl comes in. And he's like, Daddy, I need to talk to you. And, she's just in the background noises. He's talking to his wife. And she's trying to get his attention. He's like, Mr. Woofers really needs to talk to you. Mr. Woofers is her cute little stuffed animal. Oh, they're cute. Look at it. Yeah. So Mr. Woofers. And so she gets upset because she's not getting the attention. So she yells out, Daddy! And she's like, what is it? And so she's like, I really need to talk to you. We really need to get pet doggy to play with. She wants a pet so bad. And then he explains to her, like a father would, we can't. I mean, his identity is very well known through his family. I can't be closer to animals. It screws up with his abilities. He says, if I'm around animals all the time, it doesn't work. It don't work that way. And so she understands, but she's still frustrated. She's like, it's not fair. but and then his wife still is very supportive, and she's like, you know what? You haven't done this for years. You haven't done the superhero thing for a while. She's like, you were so much happier when you were. And so she's actually trying to convince them, you need to go back to this lifestyle instead of doing this work on this movie, because you did all this work on movies, you never got paid, So then they have a call come out, and he's like, okay, I'm going to revive my career, So he goes out, and he has got the biggest grin on his face. He is loving that he is doing this again. So it's a really talky book. A lot of thoughts. He's doing a lot of thinking to himself. What's happening right now is a man's taking hostages at a children's hospital, and so he's going there to help out. It's at a cancer ward in this children's hospital, and they find out that the guy that is taking hostages, his daughter died there a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and he wants her back. He's so mentally just crazed. He thinks that his daughter's still there, and he just wants his daughter back, so that's why he's holding hostages. And of course, Animal Man, being the family guy he is, he understands what, he's like, I can't imagine losing one of my kids. And so he goes up there and he does all the confrontation, and he does a great job. I mean, he's very humane towards this man. Of course, he tries to take a shot at him, and that's when you see his very first animal psyche come in. So you get this really great page here where he's just trying to decide which animal he needs to go into. So he's thinking, okay, do I want to be a rat? No. Dog? No. Fish? No. He figures out what can take a bullet is a rhino. So he gets the essence of the rhino. But then
So
he
does
also
his powers work? He just gets like abilities from the animals,
No.
like the rhino. He gets like hard, thick skin or something.
He
Is that how it
gets-
works or something?
he still stays himself. It's just in a humanistic way. That's what it's looking like here. And so he's like, nope.
I didn't know
going
if
to-
it was like Vixen, like where Vixen, she gets like the ability to fly or something, or run like a rhino through a wall or something.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I think
talking about?
Yeah, I think his
Is it
powers
something
work
like
the same
that?
way. Yeah, it works like
Okay.
that.
he stays human but has the abilities of animals. And so he's like, nope, I'm going to do my favorite, the action hero cocktail, which I thought that was kind of cool. Strength of an elephant, reflexes of a fly, and speed of a cheetah, and the bark of a dog. He's like, the bark of the dog always freaks him out. I'm like, that's kind of cute. He does. He barks at this guy, and he's like, what? What the? And so then he knocks him out. But then the guy realizes he realizes what he's doing, and he needs help, and he's taken away. And all of a sudden, you see the cops are there, and they're like, "What is going on with you?" There's something wrong with his eyes, and this is kind of nasty. I don't know if you can see that. His eyes are bleeding.
Whoa.
So something's going on with him. And so they have the doctor there check him out. They're not sure what's going on with him. He's like, I feel great. This is the best I've felt in years. But something's going on with the inside of his body, maybe because he hasn't done this for a long time. So he goes home. He sneaks home because he doesn't want his family to worry about where he's been. He checks in on his kids, and he just lays down next to his wife, and he's like, she's what keeps me stable. So you can tell he loves his family life as well. And then he's just having a hard time going to sleep. And he's like, nope, I'm going to summon, or I don't want to call it summon. He's like, I want to reach out and grab the abilities of a napping cat. So he like falls asleep. I'm like,
That's awesome.
Nice.
I wanted to have the power of a napping cat. And the thing is, this is where it gets so good. He goes into this dream world, which is so beautifully done. Just black and white. But oh my gosh,
Who does the art? The art's nice.
Travel Foreman is the
Yeah. This art right here, this black and white pages are just gorgeous. Of course, anything that has to deal with blood is emphasized, and but he's having this nightmare about his kids. His kids his boy is like, you need to come. You need to see what's happening to mom. You need to see what's happening. Crap, I forgot his daughter's name now. Anyways. And and then all of a sudden, Cliff is his son. He turns around, and Cliff is injured, and that's where you see his insides are coming out. And he's trying to save his son, and then all of a sudden you see his daughter. He's like, Daddy, it's time to go. And he's like, where are you going? He's like, you need to hurry before the hunters get here. And then all of a sudden she's like, you need to hide in this river of blood. And that's how they don't get you, is this river of blood. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. And then all of a sudden, this is what's really weird. This is where you get the front page where you see like all the different vein, kind of like. He's actually dissolving himself, and all you see is the veins, the internals. And then all of a sudden, he wakes up. Well, actually, before he wakes up, this is the last thing he sees is these creatures. And they're called your child's true father's the hunters. So he wakes up, and you see his son saying, "You need to get down here. You need to see what's wrong with Ellen." Okay, Ellen's the daughter's name, and you see his wife just grabbing her mouth. And here's the breaking point. She's outside playing with a bunch of dead animals. So he's somehow having visions of his daughter into these nightmares.
I'm really unclear on whether or not those dead animals are walking around.
They look, I don't know, because they're all staring at the family. But she's saying, I'm so sorry, Daddy. I just wanted a pet of my own. That is the ending. So you're just like...
Yeah.
So the dead animals came to her, and she's just got several dead pets now? Oh,
there's There's a dead dog, a rabbit.
I'm beginning to
bird.
think this New 52 is the New 52 twisted. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some creepy stuff in there.
I'm thinking somehow she has some of his ability, but yeah, his wife just has this complete look of total concern, like, what's going on here?
Third.
That's
yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
Aquaman with the dead sea life and
Yeah.
Blackest Night, Brightest Day stuff.
Oh, wait till we get to Swamp Thing.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So something's happening to him. You know, he's like starting to decay with his eyes starting to bleed. He's having these nightmares. And something's going on with his daughter, like has his powers transferred to his daughter. I mean, the pages of his dream were just beautiful. You've got to just read it for these few pages. They're just gorgeous. And yeah, I'm excited to read the next one. I hope there's a next one of this one because it's something different. It's something interesting. It's not, you know, high school drama.
No, definitely, of all the ones that I didn't buy that I flipped through, Animal One was the one that caught my eye the most, and I thought, oh, maybe I should have bought this.
The thing is, you can tell he's just a very caring person. He has his superhero life. He has his family life. And of course, they have this little note at the beginning of, you know, how he works for animal rights, and he's also he's also a very humanistic person. It's like a little interview that they have with Buddy. Buddy is Animal Man, so it was really good.
I think perhaps one of the best things is the fact that they've at least managed to realize that making him a husband and father is such a big part of him that's something they haven't kicked out with the relaunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
But
the only marriage to survive.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like, he basically says the only reason why I'm pretty much here is because of his wife. His wife is what's holding him together, and I liked it. It was great. The art was beautiful. At first, I was like, "This art's kind of different," but then it just became, oh yeah, go pick it up. It's awesome.
Cool.
Nice.
I think that's probably
Where was the hooded woman in it? Did you see her?
she was she was in the crowd, I believe, with the cops.
So she was in the regular world, not in the dream sequence or anything like that, right?
So
Okay.
yeah, she's in the she was at the hospital when the cops came about. I don't know if you can see her in the background there.
Yeah,
So-
I see her.
So
Cool.
yeah, she's mixing in with the doctors. So yeah,
Cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
yeah, pick it up. It was awesome.
Okay. So, Justice League International. I don't have anything else to really talk about. Because I didn't read
Oh,
much.
come on. There was a lot of books that came out.
I mean, like, the only thing I really read was, like, the New Avengers, which is, I guess, a lead into the Revengers.
The Revengers.
Which
I
is
get it.
just weird. I mean, basically, Wonder Man is, like, he goes on this whole diatribe about teams and how terrible the Avengers are and they screwed everything up. So he assembles his own team to... What? It's like, there's like...
Fuck the Avengers up.
Right, but he goes on a 5-page diatribe about how terrible the teams are and how
Well,
bad
they
it is
are.
to... And then he makes a
This
team...
This is the Avengers Revenge Squad. It's not going to be around after it finishes doing what it's here to do. you know?
Yeah, it just seems kind of
It doesn't-
hypocritical, but...
It's a.
He's like,
30
Wonder
it's a-
Man's like a dick. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm a dick. I need to find other guys that are a dick. So
I'm
we
a
can
complete...
beat up the Avengers.
Oh,
I'm an
what the
asshole.
fuck? Ryan Bendis grabbed a handbook and picked these guys at random. The guys
Yeah.
that are on it.
Yeah.
Now,
We-
I mean, this is
Said it
following up.
Bendis right that? Is that Bendis?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
Bendis.
Did
this-
he Bendis it up?
The D-Man joke got a little old.
Rather.
I know, I'm D-Man!
Bendis has never given D-Man any respect.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
So-
what, I mean, this is a 30-page fight scene, and lovely art from Gabriel Dell'Otto, and it carries on the plot thread from Wonder Man that was established over in Avengers. But I'll tell you, I have one very solid, very straightforward reason for why I was tremendously annoyed at this, and Triplet will get this.
I haven't read it. I've got
no,
it. I just haven't read it.
Captain Ultra is in this, and Captain Ultra is afraid of fire, which is one of the long-standing things about Captain Ultra. Except, Doc Samson cured Captain Ultra of his fear of fire many, many years ago. And the only reason that I know that, because it happened in a black and white Marvel magazine, is because a couple of years ago in She-Hulk, Dan Slott called it out as a mocking joke about writers who don't do the research and work off of outdated handbook profiles.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Are you shocked at that? I mean,
So Bendis it up. Is that what you're saying? Did
Yeah.
Bendis it up?
yeah.
I'm trying to make that a thing.
Right.
NJ did
Bendis
this.
it up.
Right.
I'm trying to make that a thing now.
He really pulled a Bendis.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Okay, so there's that. But what I really want to talk about is Justice League International. Justice League International. So,
I think it's so fucking big.
I think what I've sort of discovered is that there's a lot of like, a lot of the talk pre-52 was like, oh, not a lot of things are changing, just a few things and little stuff. And it's really kind of all over the place because it sounds like Animal Man didn't really get a lot changed. There seems to be some change with Superman, but a lot of these JLI characters, wow. I mean, the JLI has never previously existed, so that's one. I don't know. I'll just kind of go through it and point out some things. But so anyway, the whole premise of the JLI is the UN wants to basically form their own superhero team that's official, I guess, because
They want to control them. Don't
they want to control them, right? And because the Justice League is independent. So they want this Justice League International to be sort of under the foot of the UN and sort of be something that they can control. So like one of the first picks so what they're going through is there's a representative from Great Britain, from China, and from Russia, and then I assume the US here as well, I guess. So they're kind of going to handpick this team of heroes to be on the JLI. And first pick is Booster to be the leader. And there's really no argument to that. But then there's sort of a process of yes and no's that go through, which are kind of funny. Like Plastic Man. And the Russians like, no, he's too wacko.
Oh, he's cool. Yeah.
I like Ice. Sure, to be popular with their Scandinavian members, yes.
Yeah, because that's an issue. Vixen is picked. Green Arrow is nixed.
When I saw that picture of Green Arrow, I did not realize that was Green Arrow. I thought that was his son.
I really did. Yeah, I can't.
I thought it was
know.
Connor.
Yeah, I thought it was Connor. I was like, oh wow, I
I was
didn't
like,
realize.
that's not Green Arrow. And then you just
Yeah.
told me he doesn't have the beard anymore. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I know.
what?
I really got confused there for a minute.
He's totally shaved in this one. In the comic book, he had some scruff.
But really, I more read this as Plastic Man, no, we're not going to use him. Vixen, okay. Fire, yeah, that's fine. Green Arrow, nope, he has his own comic. Rocket's Red, August General, and Iron, nobody knows who those guys are.
I think it's
Blue Beetle, yeah, he's got his own comic as well. Sorry, we can't use him. So...
Yeah, I like the Batman. They wanted Batman. They said, I thought the idea was a team we could control. No.
Yeah. Godiva. Nobody knows who that is. Sure,
I
throw her
really
on
don't
there.
know who that is.
I
Yeah.
have no idea
That
who
was
that is.
that was the mystery woman that was missing from the covers.
Well, and
everybody
that
thought it would be that woman from Booster's Flashpoint tie-in.
Which
issues.
you-
No,
it was for a minute. Like there was an issue of the cover that had her on there, and then she was taken off, and now it's this Godiva
I think
chick.
it was ever actually her. I don't know.
I have no idea who this August General in Iron is. I've
Oh,
never.
he's
Yeah,
from the
isn't he
Great
from
Ten.
Great Person? Wasn't he
No,
on
he's
Great Moon
uh,
or something?
no, he's from the Great 10 who are in 52. The
Yeah.
Chinese-
Oh, okay.
I remember that. Yeah,
think
I
it's
remember
real
this
cool
shiny
that
super.
they-
I missed out on 52, so that's why.
And they had a 10. They had a miniseries as well, but it sold so badly that the 10 issues were cut off at 9.
So anyway, they put the team together, and then the
I
guy
gotta
says,
point out one thing here.
Okay.
Okay. Every time they showed the British representative, this lady, she always looks like she's rolling her eyes, like, oh my gosh, I'm so annoyed.
"Well, yeah, she's British. You
Oh,
didn't
they-
catch
right.
that?" I thought that was explained in the part where they said she was British.
But every single column, she's like has her eyes rolled in the back of her head, like, oh.
I'm kidding. I love you, Britain. Yeah. So, but and I don't know. I don't want to go full punch by punch. There's a reconnaissance team that goes missing, and that becomes the first sort of deal. There's not a lot of love for this JLI thing. There's a lot of protesters, and they get to take over the Hall of Justice. So I assume that's
Yay!
not
The
currently.
justice, hey.
Yeah, so I guess that's not currently being used.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, the whole of justice. And it's in one of these scenes that we do see our hooded woman in the background as Booster comes in.
She's got that red glow to her.
Yeah, she's got that kind of red hue.
You know what? She didn't really have the glow in Animal Man. She just was in red.
And we
I've
get-
noticed in a lot of the ones I've got, she's got sort of a red glowy effect to her. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. There's usually like a red pinkish thing. So,
Yeah.
and of course this team is doomed right off the bat because Guy comes in and he's like, "No freaking way! I am not going to be a team led by Booster freaking Gold." So yeah, things get off.
Do Guy and Ice have a pre-existing relationship in this?
I would assume not.
They don't-
There's
No,
no.
no, I mean, I was just referring to the issue specifically. I mean,
It doesn't. I mean, there's nothing to indicate one way or the other. They're standing next to each other, so. I mean, they're not
well,
like.
as every good fanfic shipper will tell you, that is perfectly good evidence to
Yeah.
construe that they have had a relationship.
Right. So who knows? I don't know. But it does. There's no talk one way or the other. So anyway,
She
Guy.
does say, Guy, can't you give the man a chance? So maybe she does know him at least.
Well, I'm sure
She's
everybody
talking
knows who
directly
he
to him.
is.
Hey, Guy, can't you just give the man a... I don't
So, so anyway, so Guy storms out, and of course Batman shows up.
I
basically
thought, like,
trying
he was
to-
gonna storm out. Batman was gonna punch him or something.
Yeah, that would have been
Shut up.
great. But apparently they have at least somewhat of a history. So they have the whole discussion, and Batman's like, "Look, give Booster a chance," and he's like, "No," and leaves. So the JLI gets a cool plane,
They make
and
Booster leader. No one can justify that. I
The-
like that comment.
yeah, I know, and that's the whole thing. Is like without all the stuff that happened during Gen Lost and stuff, I don't know how you justify making Booster the leader of the team. I mean, the justification in the
control him,
comic
is why.
is they feel
They said
like
they
this
can-
is a PR thing, and Booster understands PR, so they figure that he's a good pick, and one of the first things that they establish is a little bit of friction between the Russian and the Chinese.
Yeah.
Because like one of the first things like
Contemporary. No.
Gravel's like cannot work with Chinese general. Man is impossible.
Yes.
So
Russian,
It's still
Russian plane's
1992, right? Yes.
yes, no.
better. Russian planes better until they crash. Chinese aviation offers superior options.
But and Booster tries to explain to him in the future that the Chinese and Russians get along. That's great. Okay. So anyway, they're off to find this missing research team, and Booster's trying to figure out who's flying the plane. It's none other than Batman, because he's basically joined the team anyway.
Wait, one thing that you've learned from this panel is always buckle up, kids.
Yeah, really.
Yep.
Your gravity belt stuff. Oh yeah, you don't have a belt. What's up with
So
that?
Why does
No
Batman
belt.
believe so much in Booster Gold? I mean, was there something in the Booster Gold comic where
What
was like
Booster
a threat
Gold
with
comic?
that?
Oh yeah, well, back at the early stages of the Booster Gold comic, there's an issue where Booster goes back and tries to stop the Killing Joke from happening.
Yeah, I
but it's
saw
really-
that.
It's
I remember that
it's
one.
really Rip teaching him a lesson that mostly history is immutable, save for
for-
the malleable spots. But the culmination then of Jones's run on Booster is Batman meets with him, and it turns out that the Joker took pictures of Booster on his camera in the Killing Joke, and Batman has had them for years. He knew the Booster in the picture was not the same Booster as the one that turned up because he was older in the pictures. So he waited until time caught up to him and he could tell Booster that he knew he was out there doing a good job and that he really believed in him. It was fucking awesome.
Ah.
That is awesome. Okay, that makes perfect sense now.
So, and how much of that history is here? No idea.
Yeah.
We
You
don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway,
Let's pretend.
let's pretend. So, in the meantime, very Guy Fawkes style, two guys decide, and actually successfully, blow up the Hall of Justice.
Meanwhile...
Meanwhile, at the Hall of...
Oh, wait. No, sorry.
So, anyway, so they blow up the Hall of Justice. So now the JLI has nowhere to meet. Damn. Then they get attacked by rock monster things?
Yeah.
because that happens.
Rock Lords, yay!
Rock.
They look like rock
By
lords.
Rock Lords. And
And they say Chatuk. I wonder what that stands for. Like,
no idea. One of my favorite lines in the comic, though, is between Rocket's Red and August General and Iron, where Booster tells all the Flyers to grab the ones that can't, and Rocket's Red is like, "Suits magnetics will handle Iron, Major." And he's like, "I am August General in Iron." Duh, is what I said. The name is stupid. And the ground gives way and a giant metal monster thing attacks them.
looks like a robot.
Looks like a-
kind of looks like, I don't know what that is.
I have no idea what
It
this
kind of
is.
looks like Iron Giant.
Yeah.
It looks like I should know what this is, but I have no
Yeah,
idea.
it looks like something I should know. I was like thinking, is it a giant robot man? What is it?
I have
Yeah.
no
Doesn't
idea.
look like anything. Hold it up there, Lion.
Says,
See?
well, it says
Show
right
the
here, it
face.
says-
Show the face there. It's like there's like some kind of.
This kind
Pattern.
of looks Kirby-esque.
Yeah, it does kind of look
it
Kirby.
says-
It looks
says
like-
next
yeah.
on ALI versus the Signalmen. So,
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. So,
Okay,
I don't know.
How annoying Godiva is. Can we get rid of her?
She's really pointless. I mean, she doesn't even do anything. I don't even know what her powers are.
And he even said that. That's what Batman said. He's like, if you want to be a part of this team, you need to do something. She's like, this isn't my style. I'm like, kick her the hell out of
I don't
that.
know. Yeah, it's like I don't know what she's doing. She's a Brit. I mean, that's really all we know about her. But
She
But
annoys-
hey, she's,
she did nothing. She sits there and she looks pretty.
I
Guess
mean-
what?
Doesn't she
Look-
like? Doesn't
oh
she
wait,
like
she's
hit
a
on like
Brit.
2 or 3
She
of
did.
them?
Oh no, I'm kidding. That's really bad.
Doesn't she like hit on like 2 or 3 of them? Isn't that like her purpose? I guess.
I guess so. Yeah, she kind of hits on Booster a little bit.
She hits on Booster, I think.
She's
Yeah.
got big hair.
Oh, at least
Yeah,
she's
I
wearing.
just-
She's wearing trousers.
Yeah.
I just like
she's
how
got
Batman
pants.
stepped to her. He's like, you need to do something. You know? I hope they get rid of her. She annoyed me.
Yeah, I don't really know what the point of this character is. She can't fly. She has really long hair. That's all we really know about this character.
Because that's
So-
how Lady Godiva was.
Yeah.
But you know
Ooh.
what? She's not naked.
Maybe some
so she-
chocolate.
Oh wait. Okay, so she's like Medusa.
See,
Her hair
Cassius
is, like,
Cassius
attacking them.
heard my
That
Brit
is-
dig again.
Oh, does she have Medusa hair?
She has
Mm.
Medusa hair because her Medusa hair is attacking him. I didn't even catch
Oh, is that what it
What?
did?
Yeah.
She's probably
She has Medusa
pre-existing.
hair.
I'm gonna go Google her.
I have no idea.
She's
who
got to
the
be a
character is.
pre-existing character, just not.
But yeah, she's like choking out like tiny
that's
little rock.
true.
Oh man, she's gonna attack
Okay.
us with her hair.
Yeah.
Don't
They
get
said
scissors
that
near her
she's
though.
Hair on fire or something.
Okay,
That's
but the thing is, she's choking the rock things.
Yeah,
Rock
like that
things really
helps.
breathe. Does
Oh,
that
that
make
works.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, get rid of
She
her.
she first appeared in the Super Friends comic. She was part of the Global Guardians. So.
Ah, okay. Well.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of odd. It's like without the weight of everything that happened with Jen Lost, it just doesn't. You know, it's like when they were talking about saying, "Hey, they're going to bring back Jen Lost," and then they were talking about having Booster leader of the team. That's before we knew about any of this like 52 stuff, and it was like that's going to be great because now Booster's been through all of this stuff, and he's really ready to like lead up.
But it
You know.
might have still happened.
Yeah, I would think that if there's a character that remembers the other universe other than Flash, I would think it would be Booster.
But he doesn't
'Cause he
seem
was-
to.
he was
They
there,
fixed
wasn't
that at the end of his They fixed that at the end of his tie-in.
Oh, they did.
You,
Oh,
you forgot.
But it
I didn't
doesn't.
read it.
Yeah, I
Shit.
mean, it doesn't seem like he does, you know. I mean, especially
Yeah.
from like his little lead-in and stuff. It's just, I don't know. That's the thing where it's like they're saying it's like some things have really changed, some things have not for some characters, and it seems like in particular this team has really changed. I mean,
One would have thought that after the piecemeal approach kind of derailed what they were doing after Crisis on Infinite Earths, you know, with 20 years to learn how to make it work right, they could have fixed down exactly what had happened. You know, we're going to get another 0 hour to tidy this up before, you know, where we are.
I mean, people have been saying that since the beginning of Flashpoint. As soon as they introduced this, they're like, "Oh, this is going to be either it's another 0 hour or it's going to need a 0 hour." And I am already feeling that we're only 1 week in to the new 52. It's like we are already going to have a way to explain some of the way some of the stuff
You know,
has changed.
either change everything and start from the start again, or explain what, where, when, and how.
And that's the thing. It's like you need to explain how it worked because there's no. How do you wipe the slate clean? I mean, you're talking 10 years to put characters back into place that had been in place for 50 plus years. How do you do that? You know,
try not to reference it. You just move on.
you just
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, this week they're fighting a giant robot. Next week they're fighting a giant.
Yay!
You know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Watch out! Atlantis is attacking New York. Don't reference the past.
Yeah.
Hooray!
God. So
My God.
anyway, I'm still on board for JLI because it's Booster, and I just want to see more.
Getting it because I liked the art. Like this guy that.
Oh,
was
yeah.
art for-
Oh yeah, the
Aaron.
art was beautiful.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Presti, isn't it?
I mean, it's good. It's not like it doesn't blow me away.
It
I
was
do.
nice.
I do like that Booster's the gold on Booster's costume is more gold now. I mean, it definitely has like a shine to it, but he really needs a belt.
And we know that you had the man love for him.
I know he needs a belt though.
But you know what the book?
Can we get the
really
man a
needs?
belt?
The book really needs Martian Manhunter. Put Martian Manhunter on the book.
Yeah, let's. Can we trade? Can we trade like Godiva? We could put Godiva on.
Yeah.
It'd be
Uh,
great.
Trade
You
Godiva
could
for
Godiva
Martian.
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That sounds
He's just
good.
like in
Yeah.
disguise.
Certainly, snooty, sarcastic, oversexed Brit characters would be at home in the Authority or
Yeah.
what? And Stormwatch.
That sounds good to me. Yeah, that could work. Why are we talking
Anyway,
D20? Okay, someone in the chat is. What are we talking? Oh, they're
Huh?
rolling dice in the chat. That's awesome.
Hey,
All right.
I got my dice. I got my new set of dice. I could roll with you.
Oh,
with
woot! I know. I don't even. My dice is in another room. Anyway,
Well, this is. I have tons, but
Don't
these
have
are
a
the
die.
ones I have.
you don't have dice.
don't have a
What?
die.
You don't have a die at all.
Why would I have dice?
I don't know.
Because you're a geek, you're supposed to play D&D.
Yeah.
No.
Oh wow. Was it
Let's
like
see,
Power
let's-
Rangers for you? It's like kitty stuff. Is that what?
No, that's just something I've never got it.
Oh, okay. Right. on.
Let's not-
see
let's
if
not
this is
start
a- let's-
I'll go there. I'll go there.
Yeah.
epic fail.
That which shall not be named. Anyway, so okay, moving on. Chris, that'll be you, sir.
Yeah, okay. I'll start off just briefly talking about the two Spider Island one-shot tie-ins that came out this week.
I got him, but
Wait a
didn't read
minute.
him.
Those aren't DC comics. What are you talking about?
I'll break the streak. I just want to stop and talk about them because they're both great. Spider Island just consistently proving itself a winner every time. We've got Chris Yost and Mike McCone. Mike McCone being the artist from Avengers Academy up until recently, on the Spider Island Avengers one-shot, which is... following on after Venom biting his arm off in the .1 issue a little while ago of Spider-Man, Flag Smasher's got himself a robot arm and a desire to blow up the UN.
Woohoo!
And so in the middle of the Spider Crisis, Jessica Jones, Miss Marvel, and Hawkeye go to respond to his attack on the UN, and they're randomly aided by Frog Man.
What? Yes.
Okay.
You may not be familiar with Frogman, but he's the son of Leapfrog, who tried to be a villain, who's trying to go right where his dad went wrong with a lovely frog costume. It's by Chris Yost, as I say. It's just a great, fun comic. Hawkeye has spider powers and is like the one person in all of Manhattan who can't hack it. His arrows just keep sticking to him.
Wait. Hawkeye has spider powers?
So he's got
Okay.
spider powers and it's made him worse.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
can't use them.
Awesome.
But Ultimatum is loaded down with like petty thugs who have spider powers as well, so they're really causing trouble for the Avengers at the UN. And it's just a good, fun read. It's genuinely good. And the other one was the Spider Island I Love New York City, which is an anthology of shorts. This one's a $3 one, and this one's a $4 one. And it's got stories in it by Greg Rucka. It's a particularly excellent Greg Rucka story that I'm not going to blow the end of because I didn't see it coming in the slide. It's only like an 8-page story and a 10-page story. I didn't see the end of it coming at all, and it was great, and I see why Greg Rucka wrote it. Then there's one by Kelly Sue DeConnick with some nice cartoonish art by, who's the artist on that one? Chuck BB, I'm not familiar with him, about an ordinary mother who gets spider powers and suddenly finds it a lot easier to deal with all the problems of being a mother with a hard-working husband in New York. It's there's another good one. It's called Charlotte's Webs by Joe Caramagna. an art by Max Fiumara. Max Fiumara did the art for the Greg Rucka storyline as well, about two home invaders who break into an apartment, tie up the parents, and then get their asses royally handed to them by like the 5-year-old daughter who's got spider powers. Really, really lovely art as well, and this shot of her on a ceiling fan, repeatedly kicking them in their heads.
Oh my god.
Huh.
And then, like, this really ropey one at the end, which sort of throws the balance of the whole thing off. It's written by Scotty Young, and I thought it was drawn by Scotty Young until I came to the end and saw it was actually done by Dave Guertin. And it starts out quite promisingly. It's about a little stray cat who hey, look, has spider powers and walking up that drain pipe.
The cat has spider powers. That's
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
Nice.
He looks out over the cityscape. He gets a tingle of spider sense, and he turns around, and there's like a pigeon perched on the wire behind him, you know. And then, but it's like the cat reaches up and pulls a Spider-Man mask down over his head, and it turns out that it's his archenemy, Venom Pigeon.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
I officially want a crossover between Spider-Cat and Dexstar from DC
Yeah.
DC Universe
Well,
now.
hold on,
like
hold
right
on.
now.
Hold on, like they fight for 3 pages, and then the cat wakes up on top of a video game system and seems to have dreamed the whole thing.
Aw.
Damn
Bit of
it.
an- But then it ends like the cat gets up on the windsill, and then it's like, or did he dream it? And it's like,
Awesome.
it's you know it sounds better than I'm describing. I'm making it sound better than it is. The jokes there. It's like maybe a 2-3 page joke strip, but it actually runs to what does it run to? 2, 4, 6, 8. No, runs to 7 pages. You know, I don't. There's not quite enough material, and then there's a weird ending. But the other 3 stories in it are genuinely great and recommended reading. Spider Island just proven itself a consistent winner with everything thus far. I haven't seen an event or a multi-part story hit all the right boxes in every issue of itself in I don't know how long.
It's great.
Yeah. But then the thing I'll talk about at length is Swamp Thing, number 1.
I'm so ecstatic to check this one out.
Amazing. Swamp Thing.
So I like to pick this one up because it's being written by Scott Snyder, who I have heard lots of good things about on his run on Detective Comics. He's graduated up to the main Batman book now, but I didn't feel I could bring myself to dive into the Bat universe in full, so I wanted to give this one a look, especially since I'd read Brightest Day and had followed Swamp Thing. But I didn't read the Brightest Day Aftermath Search for Swamp Thing miniseries, so I don't know if that ties into the setup in this or not. And you know, frankly, I don't care, and it doesn't even matter. All you need to know is that when this series starts, Alec Holland is a person again.
Right.
And he has
Yep.
all the memories of being Swamp Thing.
Right.
Yep.
And they did set that up in Aftermath. So.
Okay,
that what
so
happened?
Yeah.
he has been Swamp Thing, but he just
He has
doesn't
been
remember it.
Swamp- But he
Okay.
has the memories of Swamp Thing, although he himself was never Swamp Thing.
Right.
Per
Yeah,
the
because Swamp Thing
okay.
had his memories, right? That's how
Yeah,
it worked.
right.
He had
Swamp
his
Thing,
yeah.
Thing believed that he was Alec Holland when Alec Holland was actually dead, and you know that was the original Silver Age origin was that Alec Holland turned into Swamp Thing, but then Alan Moore came in and flipped it all on its head and was like, no, it's just a plant that thinks it's Alec Holland. But now Alec Holland has all the memories of Swamp Thing as well. So the story begins, first of all, firmly establishing that this is a DC Universe book. We get shots
Yeah.
of Superman, well, Clark Kent, Batman, and Aquaman in the Daily Planet building, in the Batcave, in the oceans, as birds fall dead from the sky, bats fall dead from the rafters, and fish float dead in the water. Mass
Yeah, I mean, we
death.
definitely had this is a present day book too, because that's Clark Kent at the
that is
Daily
Clark
Planet with
Kent,
Lois
yeah.
Lane. Yeah.
This is the here and now. I mean, I think this marks like our first proper look at the here and now of the DC, and for it to be in Swamp Thing of all places. But here we are.
Yeah.
It's now that said, it's still very much a Vertigo book at heart, much like I think Animal Man is. Although this is being presented to us as a DC Universe book, this is very much a slow burn Vertigo book at heart. It's the first. Although we see like Clark and Batman and Aquaman, it's all covered with narration by Holland about his childhood when he worked in his father's florists, and about how he would use a machine to cut the stems off flowers for bouquets, and how the machine made this horrible noise that he and his father would joke was the flowers screaming for their lives. And it cuts from that into the of an electric saw as we cut to Alec Holland working in the present day at I think it's one of those building homes for the disenfranchised charity type effect.
He is in Louisiana.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
yes, of course. Probably, yeah. That's probably a reconstruction
So-
project. They don't actually. Yeah, I never even thought. Very good. It says, "I'm older now and I know better. I know that my father. He was telling the truth." Because plant can. But you just get the whir of the saw cutting. Even though he stopped using the saw, you see the screaming noise continue, and you see just a little vine creeping out of the ground and coiling itself over his shoe. But he's trying to get on with his life and forget all this stuff, kicks the vine away, and just has a chat with a fellow workman about how he gave him some advice about using cabbage leaves to cure inflammation of his knee. He's got all his vegetable knowledge, but he's trying to get on and do something a bit more fulfilling for the rest of the world. Smash cut 2, northwestern Arizona. An archaeological dig has unearthed the remains of a mammoth. A wind picks up, the bones are scattered. Bodies of lizards and dead desert animals are all caught up in this red tornado of bone and blood.
Whoa.
We leave there for a moment. As I say, a lot of this is just Holland's narration, so I'd be belaboring the point if I cover it all. Superman comes to visit. So again,
Present
this
day
is
Superman.
present day Superman.
He had nothing else to do, right?
He's just all of the animal deaths and the possibility there could be something dicky with Earth's biosphere have led him to the man who was most prominently connected to it that he knows of. And so here's Superman in his new costume and everything, and acting like Superman does. And he says he's come to visit because he knows how hard it is to come back from death. So yeah, here we go, present day Superman. He's had Doomsday and died and everything. We're getting a proper look at the scope of this in fucking Swamp Thing of all kinds.
Yeah, Swamp Thing. Yeah.
Oh, I skipped past something. And how could I?
How dare you?
Yes, I
Fail.
forgot to mention that the woman in red is like the third figure in the comic, standing behind a car in the broad daylight, glowing.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
You're not gonna miss her in this one. So
she couldn't leave
Does
me
she have
behind.
details on her face or anything?
no, she's completely shadowed in this one. I think. Yeah, her face is completely in shadow. So Holland just sums up where he is with us now. He reopened his lab. He got back to work on his bio-restorative formula. He's finished up a batch of it. He got up to the point where he was before he died, but he doesn't feel that he can get his old life back because he has the memories of another life in his mind now. He remembers loving some woman that he's never even known. And Superman tries to it's Abby Arcane. Superman tries to talk him into simply going back to the formula because of how much good he can do with this formula to make vegetables and to make plant life grow in the most arid of areas. And there's this great scene here where Holland talks about how a botany professor that he had, he would always talk about how the plant world is the most misunderstood area of biology. Because he said, everyone thinks of vegetable life as calm and gentle, peaceful, but the truth is the opposite. Do me a favor, look over there, Superman. You see that plant, the sorrel? As we speak, it's choking that blackberry bush to death. And there, that bittersweet vine is strangling the poplar tree's sapling, the poplar's child, right next to it. And Dr. Reese, his feeling was that the plant world was the most violent region of all biology. It's just that the violence happens so slowly we don't see it. Back then, though, when I was in his class, I couldn't wrap my mind around it, even as a botanist myself. But then I was joined to the green, and I saw that the professor was right. The plant world is angry and cruel and violent. So as for the formula, I completed but one batch, and then I had this vision, a vision of a world covered in green. And so I destroyed it. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. And, he says, I do feel lost at the moment, but right now I just don't want to be found. So, as I say, talky book, but... then we go back to the archaeological dig, where the archaeologists in question are a bit miffed that their find has just apparently got up and disappeared. They're blaming a research assistant who's probably sold them out and sold it off to somebody else. And then they joke, so the bones just walked off on their...
Thud.
So,
Thud.
and it's like you think you know what's going to happen when the guy decides to go up over the rise of the hill. You're going to see a mammoth skeleton walking about. No, it's some hideous concoction of bone and meat and feathers and flies. Some walking cadaver of 1,000 different things.
I mean, it's pretty daggum monstrous.
It is heinous. And then one of the flies from this hideous swarm swoops down on him as he tries to speak to it and back away slowly. And then the fly just goes right into his ear.
Ew.
But then, as if that wasn't disgusting enough, his neck just starts turning and his head turns around all the way, but then his body staggers backwards head to the other people he's left on the other side of the hill, attacks them with a knife. The flies come zooming after them, go in their ears, their heads snap around, and then they march off into the night with this hideous meat skeleton.
It's so creepy. Oh my god.
Backwards head zombies. It is like grotesquely fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh man, this sounds like my kind of book.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I like gross stuff.
But then we cut from such a horrible thing to Alec Holland. A quick recap of the origin in picture, mainly only in pictures, as he dreams his origin again. The formula exploding in his lab, him running in flames into the swamp and emerging as Swamp Thing. But then when he awakes from his nightmare, from such a scene of horrible red and meat and bone to this scene of just tranquil beauty where his entire motel room has come out in flowers. And it comes obvious, based on what we saw as well, that the plant world is reaching out for him. You know, it wants him back. You think it wants Swamp Thing back. And it turns out that he hasn't thrown the formula away at all. He was lying to Superman. He's got it kept in a wall safe. And he says, you want this? You want this? Leave me alone. And he actually goes to throw it in the swamp, as he told Superman he did. And then some tentacles burst out of the swamp, and Swamp Thing says, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
What?
There's a twist.
Yeah, I'm certainly surprised. And the title of the story is revealed to have been Raise Dem Bones.
Yeah.
Now, that does kind of come off of that, I think, Brightest Day thing, because the...
Yeah, it probably does, that if Holland was left on his own and Swamp Thing was out. But I think perhaps the ending caught me all the better because...
You didn't read it, yeah.
I didn't know either. I was surprised. I thought we would start in he would be Swamp Thing. I thought it would start off that way.
No.
It too.
Well, in fact, that's the whole way the Brightest Day thing was trying to lead you, because that's exactly what Constantine was trying to do. I mean, John's plan was to kill Holland and give him back to the green so that Swamp Thing could be reborn, but he ended up not doing that.
Interesting if this book just co-starred Swamp Thing and Holland, like if they
That
just
would
like
be different.
Or something. But no, great. You know, I mean, I reread all three of the 52 books that I got just like an hour or two ago, because I think like on rereading, Swamp Thing might be my favorite of them. As I say, it's really a Vertigo book at heart. It's a very talkative, and it's a slow burn. You know, obviously I laid into Justice League last week because nothing happened. It was very slow moving. But this is a Vertigo book. It's a different kind of book. It's an introspective, talk-heavy book with a lot of like themes. Ooh, themes. It makes it smart. Have themes.
What?
You know, it sketches out the direction for the character, where he is now. It puts in a hint of what the villain is going to be, gives us a look at that, you know, I think it certainly does enough to make me want to read more. I'm definitely looking forward to more of this. And the art is by Yannick Paquette, who he's a bit of a tendency to lean towards the cheesecake. But I think it's great that a guy who was just penciling Ultimate X-Men whenever it was in its quiet dying out phase a couple of years ago, has made it up through drawing Batman alongside Grant Morrison to delivering work of this quality, because this is a beautiful looking book.
Oh yeah.
This is great on every level, honestly, and I'm happy I reread it because I had even more appreciation for it when I did. Really, really very good, and I'm glad that I decided to give something that would be outside of my normal sphere of interest to look with Swamp Thing. Definitely recommend it.
I've never bought Swamp Thing before, and I was taking a chance, but I'm glad I bought it because I really liked it. I'm going to keep getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
I knew I'd heard so many good things about Scott Snyder. I really felt I should give something by him and go. Well, I'd read Brightest Day, so I thought, well, Swamp Thing. I've followed all of that. That was 24 issues that was setting this up. So, but apparently not. No. Definitely well worth your time.
Awesome. Okay, so we're on to our final 2 reviews. So we've got Batgirl and we've got Action Comics. We'll start with Batgirl, and I'll take that if no one else complains.
If you don't mind.
Okay.
I
fine.
don't object strongly.
So we start off, like any good comic does, with a list with a name already marked off. That's sort of foreboding, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. There's basically an exchange, an altercation between this gloved dark figure and something about, what did he say? He survived something, and he survived when 20. I'm trying to paraphrase instead of just reading the lines.
Well, there was a thing, and then there was a drawing, and then a man turned. And it was
something's going on this page. We don't know what it is.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Basically, 27 of this man's co-passengers were killed, and he did not. And asks who the man is, and got his answer. He is the Mirror. Bum, bum, bum. Then he grabs a garden hose out of his hand and shoves it in his mouth and kills him. Boy, that's the way I want to die.
Boy, you know you're reading a Gail Simone comic.
Yeah, you know you're reading Gail Simone when somebody gets dies in a horrible way within the first 3 pages.
You know. This guy's
I was like, okay, so he's got the hose in his mouth. I'm like, I used to do this as a kid.
Yeah, but apparently this guy's really strong, and you just see water shooting everywhere. Glug. I wonder what GLK stands for.
Can't be good.
Yeah, God lick something. Anyway, okay. So anyway, Graham Carter gets marked off the list, and we see another name on the list. Happens to be Barbara Gordon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Done.
Guy seems to be like a kind of a Final Destination.
It does kind of have that feel, doesn't it?
Catching up to people who have survived death somehow and finishing off the job.
So let's see. Later, basically we see Barbara on the job, but she's not Barbara. She's Batgirl.
No, she's not Barbara. She's not Barbara.
I really like the art, the way the art works right here. Like that first scene you see, just the bad ears and the red eyes. It almost looks like Batman, and then it kind of pulls back, and you see the red hair, and that was cool. I like that a lot.
We get to see her new suit, which is very similar to what the suit that was introduced in. Was that in Batman Inc. for the cyber version of?
I
Batgirl,
legitimately don't know, but I legitimately know that I hate it.
Yeah.
And it's not a criticism of the artist. I think it's
just it's the lead
very
design.
nice art, but it's Jim Lee not being able to design for shit. Oh, what if I put a couple of ribbed panels on Batgirl's outfit? It is the height of the redesign on this. Panels and rib bits, and just really what's going on with the glove prongs?
Yeah,
look like they're growing out of it. It's really, really fucking nasty, and I don't like it.
It's busy.
But that is as severe as I will be about anything.
I don't hate it, but I did hate when I first saw it, and I saw that it was metallic, and I thought, is this how they're going to explain how she's walking? That got me nervous.
Yeah, like a mantis sort of thing.
I was thinking like a robot suit that lets you walk or so. I was getting nervous when I saw that.
That seemed to be what they were hinting at in Batman Inc., but
yeah,
in the end.
So, anyway, Shattered is the name of our story. And it looks like basically we have a home invasion is what she breaks up. Very, I didn't want to go too much into that. But anyway, she comes in and saves the day-ish. She brutally, takes down this gang of...
really killer.
Yeah, they all have, monster masks and name...
I've seen a couple of films that are just like...
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
With Batgirl in it.
Yeah.
I like that they say that, oh, here's our notebook. This is who we are. We're the Brisbane killers. And the guy's like, we don't even live in Brisbane. As I know. Frankly, the press came up with it. We're not that geographically rigid.
Yeah. I think we operate anywhere. We picked your name out of a phone book,
We just picked your name out of a phone book,
That's one way
So,
to throw off the cops. That's fair.
but we see a lot of her internal dialogue, which I think is the really interesting bit of this sequence where she's, trying to follow their body language. You can tell she's trying to get back into, this crime fighter mode, and she's making mistakes. Like she almost gets killed falling out of the balcony, and she talks about again how scared she is. There's a part in here I can't remember where it is, but she talks about how she has to pee, which is awesome.
She said, "All I can think about is really gotta go pee."
Which is just, it's just like honest. It's just like, yeah, it feels honest to me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then, so we see later where she flashes back, and she's not Batgirl. She's, not tonight. She's, back to being Barbara, and she's flashing back to killing Joke. She's flashing back to being shot. And
that was interesting. 'Cause I didn't know if they're going to undo that. If they were going to say like,
Oh,
hey,
I know.
Joke,
I never expected that to happen. There
wasn't sure.
was no way
there
they were
would
gonna
be.
not
Do you
do
know
that.
what would happen if they
Yeah,
just
there would
undid
be.
it? Rioting.
Huh?
They would.
no.
They would have burnt the DC offices down. It
I
was
mean,
just.
because how do you fix it? I mean, how do you make it so that she's walking down? I thought, well, it's a fresh start. I thought maybe they weren't even gonna. They were gonna say killing didn't happen. Is what I was thinking.
Lots of people thought that, definitely, but that
Yeah.
would... No.
So I was shocked when I turned the
Smart
page and I
way up.
saw that scene. I was like, wow. Okay, what's going on?
So we go through an exchange that she has with her father, and it's red-haired again, I guess. So he's not
Yeah,
not that old,
Jim Gordon.
younger Jim Gordon. And basically, she's just talking about how she's gonna have to strike out on her own, stretch her legs, as she says. And
When I was first reading this, and I'll just show you how stupid I am, because I was reading it, and I didn't catch. Yeah, I know. Okay, I was reading it, and I was thinking, okay, what they were doing was they referenced that Killing Joke happened, but maybe she wasn't paralyzed. Is what I was thinking at first when I first read it, and I was like, but wait a minute, she's got a wheelchair. What's going on? So then I went back and reread it, and then I caught the comment where she says. Talking about the gunshot, talking about the dream she had and everything, and living. And she says, but it was serious, a gut shot, an L1 injury, first lumbar of the spinal cord. For 3 years, I couldn't move or feel my legs. And then I was like, so it still did happen. So what's going on? And I'm still thinking, like, what's going on? What's happened here? But
the only.
first time go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, the only reference she makes is then a miracle happened. So we have no real.
She never doesn't really address it, and I'm beginning to think that they're never going to address it. They're just
Oh, I
gonna
think
just-
they will.
I can't believe that. I think this has got to be set up for the future. I mean, we'll know. I'll talk more detail about it when we get to the end. I'll just sort of sum up and talk about it.
So, so she does. So she takes a roommate, and we get to meet her new roommate, and
Who never introduces herself. on
never
panel.
says her name. Yeah.
No, they do mention
She
it
does
later
say
whenever
her
Barb. Her name is Alicia. She gets
Yeah.
her name
It's
later
Alicia.
when Babs gets the text, but she never actually says, "Hello, my name is."
Right. There's no introduction. Some
Yeah.
fight the power graffiti on her wall or something. But,
I have a feeling I'm not going to like this character very much.
Yeah. Probably
I have
not.
a feeling
like
this
her.
character's
She
gonna be a
would-
bad guy.
She accepted Barbara from the point that she met her. She seemed to be cool. She even gave her a hug and everything. So
She's a hugger.
Um,
And
Are
that's
we
not
sup-
unlikable at all.
are we supposed to assume this guy in the hospital? This is one of the guys that she beat up.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Okay.
This is the guy who went out the
Yeah.
window.
Right. So there's an exchange between, again, this roommate talking about her chairlift. So again, we have all of these, these elements where she had been paralyzed and now is not. But that leads into the return of our villain, which is great. So this is here to see Rankin, Theodore. Name, please? Mirror. Wham!
that
Punch to the
that
face.
poor receptionist.
I know. I feel.
I don't know it's a Gail Simone comic again. Equal opportunity. Even the ladies get punched.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like her name tag flies up. Hi, I'm Heidi.
Hi, I'm Heidi. Yeah, I know. It's just like she's so nice and quaint. Yeah, it's just like totally undeserving, but that's reality, you know. You know. So
Wow, right?
so then, you know, and one of the other officers is there, stop or I'll shoot. Great line again. I believe you. Shoots him in the face. Yeah. So so I guess she gets the text. She gets a text or something.
Yeah, she
Rooted
said,
her phone to get her dad's texts.
Yes, that's right.
She wanted her dad's X alert so that she could. She said I don't have a bat signal yet, but you know this will work.
It's close enough. So she gets her dad's text about the what's going on at the hospital. Breaks out her awesome motorcycle.
Woo.
Yeah.
She's nobody's baby.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So she goes riding off into the to the hospital. There's gunshots and insanity. We get our more full look of Mirror, which he seems to have some sort of mirror plate on his chest, and then is it like a whited out?
It looks like broken glass for a face or something.
Almost, yeah. I mean, it does kind of look
like shattered glass.
Shattered glass, like shattered. Oh. But there seems to be something more to this mirror thing because there is a glow to it. Like he's saying he shows this Theodore guy his true face, which he freaks out at.
Yeah.
She actually rides the motorcycle through the hospital. Like actually has one of the. She's like, can you hit that?
Yeah,
the button for
she's
me?
in the elevator and she says, "Would you be a lamb and hit the button for the 14th floor?"
That's Gail Simone humor, right?
Oh, it
there.
is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome. So she gets in. So she starts. So again, we see this is where it gets just awesome for me because she sort of calls out, you know, the guy, the villain. He turns around and points the gun at her, and this is where she loses her shit because she just like true trauma, she flashes back to the Joker and the gun, and she just freezes.
Yeah, he's pointing the gun like at the same spot that the Joker shot, and it's like too much. She's like, "Oh God."
I mean, you can see. I mean, you even in the like in the subtext, even the characters like, "Move! What are you doing? Oh my God!" And she's just like, "I just can't move, can't move." And so Mirror just takes the guy's bed and wheels it to the window and pushes it out the window.
Yeah. That's where we see our hooded woman too in the reflection. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I had to look online to
Yeah,
find that one.
I did not find it. So
It was the one I couldn't find.
Yep,
Yeah, she's in
the
reflection.
reflection in the window is where our hooded lady is.
Oh, okay.
And
was awesome.
so yeah, and
was
so
a
Mirror
tricky
just
one.
leaves because again she's frozen and she's just like, "What have I done?" And the other cop pulls the gun on her and tells her, you know, she calls her out as a murderer. So, wow.
You let him kill that man. You just watched him die. Murderer.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
you think, okay, it's gonna be, you know, first night back out, easy. You know, it's gonna be good for Batgirl. Nope. Oh wait, it's Gail Simone. She's gonna be in deep shit right off the bat. You know, first few outings, and she's already ended up, you know, freezing up, and a guy dies. So
But she still needs to get her groove back, you know.
yeah, she's got to get back.
Batgirl gets her groove back.
Yep. So next issue is Cut Short, Cut Deep. God, I love her titles. I don't know why.
Always, yes.
Yeah.
Wow, though. I mean, what a, you know, I really like this. I said this on Twitter. My description to this was that it was brutally honest. Like, I felt like, you know, so few times, you know, we get in these hero comics and, you know, we see these heroic versions of these characters. We see them do heroic things. And rarely do we see that balance where it's like they'll either have like those anti-hero stories where it's like everything goes wrong for them or everything goes right. And this is like right in the middle, you know. You see her being really great, being amazing, but you also see her being very human. And it's just honest. Love it. I mean, I like this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Well, I think it's good, but not great. I don't think it's the best thing Gail Simone has ever written.
No.
And
Well,
this
no.
is,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a book that's got a lot of eyes on it. Th- at one moment nobody was paying attention to Batgirl, and then the next, suddenly all eyes were upon it because of what it was going to say and do. And, it's got people who are opposed to it for getting rid of Oracle. It's got people who are opposed to it for bringing Barbara back. Those are two separate things, even, removing
Right.
Oracle, bringing Barbara back. There's people who are furious that Stephanie Brown is no longer Batgirl. There's a lot of anti-camps, and it's hard. It is, I'll say it again. There's a lot of reasons to be opposed to this. And so it's got its work cut out for it.
Mm-hmm.
And by and large, it succeeds. I mean, I don't think any writer other than Gail Simone could genuinely have managed this as well. If I had seen any other writer's name on this, I wouldn't have put a foot near it. Because I have no particular fondness for Barbara or for Batgirl. I do think it's a shame to lose Oracle. I think, it's not as if there aren't other characters that could fill this role, whereas Oracle's was a very unique one. I do think that on the whole, this is a bad idea. I will say that. But if you want someone to make the best of a bad idea for you, you get in the woman who knows this character better than just about anybody. And, I was really... I mean, I knew going in that they weren't taking the Killing joke out, but it would have been so easy to make reference to it and then just go on. Just carry, a lesser writer, and there are many, would have gone in and just gone, right, she's walking now, here's Killer Croc. Or whatever,
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is, these issues are very much directly at the center of it, I definitely applaud it for that. And I really love the twist on the Killing joke as well, because I'd never thought of the Killing joke as a home invasion. But that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Joker rings the doorbell and just comes up and rings the doorbell, normal as anything, and shoots her when she opens the door. So the idea that the first thing she does on the night out is break up a home invasion, there's a delicious sense of parallel to that. I think it's obviously something she's also deliberately thought out as well. She may have taken this particular case a little too much to heart.
Yeah.
And, the idea that she really doesn't know, she's not so sure of herself if she can actually get back in and do this after so long out is a great way of approaching it as well. And, the finale where she froze up when the thing was pointed at her spine was when I was definitely clued into the fact, this was not going away after one issue. This is built into the premise of where this is now. But, at the same time, the book gives off no hint of what it will be about after that. Because it cannot always be about Barbara Gordon struggling to reconcile the last couple of years of her life with where she wants it to be now. Technically, if you're being real about it, yes, it will take years to reconcile their lives. But this is comics that will not be entertaining for a prolonged period of time. And this book needs... fundamentally, what I'm saying is, this book presents me with no reason for Barbara Gordon to be Batgirl again. I see no reason for this. I see a lot of very, very good plot points that have been wrung from a bad concept, but I see no active justification for why this should be the way it is. And I'm not somebody with particularly strong feelings about Babs at all. I just feel that the loss of Oracle is losing a niche that nobody else is immediately stepping up to fill.
I see how you're feeling. I've always particularly liked the look of Batgirl. Like the classic Barbara Gordon look versus the it's all black and no face, no mouth. You know what I'm talking about?
Casting.
And then even when I love the character Spoiler. She's great.
That's another character I have legitimately no attachment to, and I know she has a huge following.
I think that character's great too. But in my mind, despite all the different Batgirls, in my mind, Barbara Gordon is Batgirl.
I would give you that. Yeah, I would think the same thing as that's a product of the Batman cartoons more than anything else, because that's where I first, and of course the Adam West TV show. But I've never followed the Batgirl family of books or anything. It's not that I'm sad to lose Stephanie, but more that I don't see just a good reason for Babs to be. I mean, this was this premise is something that people used to joke about that they would never do because, really. But in the decade in which
and
we saw
Jason
fucking
Todd was never
oh,
coming
it's come
back, and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen slightly less ridiculous things, but this is different because this changes the fundamental nature of something that allowed a character to expand out beyond her original scope and appeal to a whole different subset of people who are really able to see themselves in her and take away lessons from her experiences. I think that any handicapped people will definitely respond to this issue very differently. I mean, I think that I'm not tying with one brush or anything. I'm not speaking from experience. I'm to talk to anybody I don't know, but I could see like I know there's definitely a genuine undercurrent of anger that this is happening among some people because it's not just that it's taking away Oracle, the cyber hacker internet superhero, but she's a disabled superhero as well. But they treat it with absolutely as much respect as they can muster, and I definitely applaud the comic for that. But it's not proven to me this is a good idea yet, and I see nothing in the book that tells me what it will be about beyond Barbara justifying, beyond Gail Simone finding really, really good and entertaining ways to justify a change that, to be honest, came down from on high, and that she herself, I don't want to speak for her, I couldn't, but that I would certainly be willing to put money on that she herself would never have made if she had the freedom to control the character's destiny.
Well, the one positive thing I can say though is it got me to buy Batgirl.
Oh, I will buy the next issue.
Yeah, and I think that maybe I think it's one of those things where it's like we have to let it get into it because I mean I think
it's still a better issue of a comic than Justice League.
Yeah.
This is gives you a full and solid introduction to the character. First person narration lets you absolutely know what she's thinking. Self-contained action sequence shows the character in action, shows her strengths and faults. Sketches in the supporting cast with her dad and the new roommate. Here's one that's puzzling me. She had to sneak a look at her dad's files and hack his phone to redirect texts. Where did Oracle go? Why does she have to sneak info from her dad again? Don't be telling me that her history as Oracle has taken a hit.
Well, maybe that'll be something like in the future. We'll find out whatever happened.
Yeah, and I would bet that I mean, it's probably more likely that they'll wipe out some of the Oracle stuff.
Well, I certainly have no objection to them not addressing how she's walking again. I mean, that definitely feels like set up for the future. I'm sure.
I would be fine if they never said how she walked again. But as long as she keeps the, this is how I felt, when this happened. As long as that those emotions don't go away, I think that I'm fine with that.
It's still a very well written, well put together comic that is just struggling against what is inherently a bad idea and doing a lot to prove that you can tell good stories out of it. And the Mirror is great too. He looks to be a really twisted Gale. I mean, did you catch the fact that he's killing everybody ironically? The man who should have drowned is drowned.
Yeah, he drowns. Yeah, that's right.
He's thrown out a window. Fall to his death. Is thrown out a window to his death. So that's
awesome.
But what does that mean for Barbara then? Is he saying she was supposed to have died from the shot, or I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, that'll be.
I want to see what this guy is.
Yeah.
Is he Cobra Commander's secret long lost nephew? Got the same kind of mask.
Definitely reminiscent of Junior to me, who was the mystery villain, the mystery masked never saw their face villain from the first story arc of Secret Six as well. Mind you, I mean, I'll say it. This ain't no Secret Six, but I knew it wasn't going to be. But it's got me in for a couple of issues, definitely. Let's see where it goes. I'm just saying, I think it's well put together, and I enjoy. I like that they've definitely decided to make her recuperation, the fact that it is such a huge change for her, intrinsic to the plot, instead of, as I say, a lesser writer would almost certainly have just gone, right, move on, next thing.
Right.
I was expecting something like that. I was worried.
If I was going to get that, I wouldn't be coming back for another issue. I just wouldn't. But to be honest, I wouldn't have read it if anybody else had written it other than Gail Simone, and I would have been surprised if she would have gone that route with it. So this approach definitely has me down for the immediate future, but I'm still not convinced that the idea at its core is a good one.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. It's going to have to play out, though. I mean, it's just there's too much stuff there to get it. To get all of those answers in one issue. So, I think it's going in the right direction to try to, make that work. And I think then we'll just have to, it's one of those. It's just going to take time, but we'll see. So, I'm with it. I like it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I
I'm
like it.
definitely down
Enjoyed
for it.
it.
I'll definitely will talk to you guys. I think it's good. It's not great, but that is not. I can't really blame the creative team or the writer. Lovely art, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
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 don't like the cover. But I can't really blame anybody that's actually writing or drawing the book for it. It's just fighting against fighting to prove itself against. I don't know. It's like there's not that many people in support of the idea, and justifiably. So the fact that it even proves to be a solidly good comic that manages to use its premise to its advantage to make it better in the face of that, definitely give it thumbs up for that. But
Cool.
it hasn't sold me on the premise yet.
Okay, so that leaves us with action. Do you want to go through that, Chris McFeely?
I will if you want me to.
That would be equitable.
I would
Drawing the
do
line right behind $2.99, and then-
Yes, but this one's like 38 pages long. So not 30. This is like 28 pages long. So grand. It's not Justice League again.
yeah.
Is every issue $3.99 or is it just?
God, I
the
hope
first?
not.
Starting off, I believe it is. Yes.
Damn it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, so our story begins at the high-rise penthouse, I guess, of Glenn Morgan, Mr. Metropolis, who's cut a deal with some little weaselly guy.
Hi, I'm the wormy guy.
He's some weaselly teetotal guy. But into the scene bursts Superman, who's here to just fuck up capitalism.
Yeah.
I love his comment. It's like rats with money and rats with guns. I'm your worst nightmare. And he's got the glowing eyes. Oh God.
The police pile in because they've been on. Superman, as we learn later in this issue, has been around in Metropolis for 6 months, and the police are still trying to figure out what the story is with him. But he is here. He has taken Glenn Morgan, and he's holding him over the balcony. He says he'll let him go as soon as he makes a full confession to someone who still believes the law works the same for the rich and the poor, because that ain't Superman.
Yeah.
This is before we go any further, this is a very, very different Superman.
Oh yeah.
That you will be.
When I was reading it, it seemed very Golden Agey because the Golden Age stuff, he ran from the cops. He wasn't the guy that the cops were like, smiling. It's like, have a good day, officer. Well, have a good day, Superman. And he flies away or something.
The Grant Morrison has said some time ago that if he ever got the chance to go back and write like Superman from the start again, he would want to do the kind of social crusader who tries to stamp out the evils of society. Because if you go back and you actually read the original Action Comics one, this is what Superman does. In the pages of Action Comics #1, Superman kicks down the door of the governor's mansion to hand over evidence that will prove the innocence of a man about to be put to death. Strikes aside the guards, kicks in steel doors, and then, like, randomly in the course of the story, bursts into somebody's apartment to stop a wife beating. He really, there's none of the Superman. It's funny because he was very much anti-authority. Like, the Superman is anti-authority, sticking it to the man, standing up for the little people. But Superman evolves, not slowly, really, quite promptly over time to kind of resemble non-threatening social authority, where he was an ideal that everybody should sort of hold themselves up to. Truth, justice in the American way, it's not about messing up everyday life. It's about protecting it. It's a complete flip. But
Right.
that is the Superman everybody is known for. Well, he's been around for 70 years, so at least 60, 65 of those years.
So this is a really a shock.
Yeah,
to
this
most
is
readers.
a shock.
Most readers, they've never even seen a Superman like this.
Most readers, there's people who are moaning about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll get, if you don't understand what he's doing, I'll give you that, but I think I would be, I would bet money that if Morrison gets the prolonged time and energy to put into this title, that we will see a Superman who evolves up through the various strata of Superman lore. And that's to say nothing of the fact, like, the idea of the social crusading Superman, it's certainly the idea, it's a kind of hero that works well with the times we are in now. This is just the way things are. And also the fact that this is a very young Superman. It's a young, stupid Superman with powers. What does a young boy who lived an innocent life out on the farm do whenever he wants to, quote-unquote, do good in the big city? It's it's a wonderfully naive idea, and it's just far more interesting. It may not be what you and I would call Superman, quote unquote, the paragon, the paean, the icon of Superman, but it's a far more relatable and realistic interpretation of what a young hero on the block, whenever he's the first of his kind and has no pre-existing superheroes to base his actions or ethics on, would probably do. He'd go and fuck up the fat cats.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, because you think about that, and that may play actually into the sort of, because you talk about, one thing you talk about is like the escalation of armament, right? And that's something that's been repeated, throughout the years in terms of comics. It's like when you put on that suit, when you put on a cape, and it's something that Alan Moore got into, even with, Watchmen is a good example. When you put on the suit, when you put on the cape, that's when things escalate. So when you're the first superhero, what else is there to fight? There's not supervillains to fight. All there is, crime and corruption. So, yeah, that's exactly what he would start with.
You don't, whenever you can shoot lasers from your eyes and throw tanks around, you don't fight it on a low-key level.
Right.
Although Superman in this is like that. I mean, the whole idea of fighting crime on a low-key level, that is what Clark Kent is. That is what the Daily Planet reporter is about. That's the idea of that. He exposes corruption and fights it on that level. So this is taking the idea of what he does in his civilian guys and transplanting it over to what he does in his superhero guys. He uses his powers to generally intimidate, corrupt, intimidate, and root out corruption. And it's great. Well, which he does in this instance by jumping off the top of the building with Glenn Morgan in his arms and comfortably landing like 40 floors below. And Glenn Morgan just goes...
Wonder what that stands for.
Yeah. And of course he then fesses up to using illegal cheap labor, no safety standards, bribing city officials. He lied to everyone. It's like Superman he's like he's addressing a TV camera, but there aren't any. You know the deal, Metropolis. Treat people right or expect a visit from me.
That's great.
Don't you want that little, the more you know, dun 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 dun,
Yeah.
going over there?
The police burst out and surround him, and Superman casually tells the detective Blake to see a doctor about the ulcer that he can see in his stomach with his X-ray vision, and he says to the policeman, one of you wants to know if it's true what the Daily Planet says about me, right? And then one of the policemen pulls the trigger, and he catches the bullet. It's like
He says, "So help me God."
Bullet. Yeah. Oh, help me God! And then he catches, and it's like, you don't have to say it, but what he wants to know is it true that you're faster than a speeding bullet? Yes, I am. Dodging a bullet, catching a bullet, that's the iconic Superman.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows, it's like faster than a speeding bullet is as iconic, more so maybe even than in a galaxy a long time ago, far, far away.
Yes,
That
definitely.
is ingrained into global popular culture, or Western popular culture. Everybody knows faster than a speeding bullet.
I just like the look on his face here. He has complete satisfaction on
so
his
happy.
face right
Yeah.
there. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is,
Look at it.
look
I caught it.
You damn
What's
right,
it
I'm
called?
good.
So, but this is Superman who can't fly yet, so he makes a break for it and just runs off down the streets. And Blake rings it in to General Lane, who is paying for Lex Luthor to come in and help consult for the capture of Superman. I love this. I really like Lex in this. Lex looks like he was drawn by Pat O'Leaf in this panel.
Yeah, he does, don't he?
Really, really does. The art in this is by Grant Morrison, of course, we all know that. The art in this is by Rags Morales, so I think most people probably know as the artist of Identity Crisis. I liked his art in Identity Crisis, but I really like his art in this.
It's awesome in this. I love it.
Nice. I like it.
So Luthor is essentially consulting with the military to try and capture Superman, and he exclusively refers to Superman as it. I like it. I like it.
He calls it creature and it, and he doesn't refer to him as a man, just creature and it.
And he drinks power drinks. He drinks he drinks stuff that Brian Kilby would drink, basically.
Brian Kilby is Lex Luthor.
Brian Kilby is Lex Luthor.
So much sense now.
Yes.
He pushes Jason the head occasionally. Oh my God! Why didn't I know this?
So Lex has helped set up a trap in what's the area called? It's called the New Moravia Triangle, which is an area that's been marked for development, but which hasn't been completely removed. All the inhabitants have been completely removed out of
squatters and stuff, basically, I guess.
Yeah, well, maybe just people who are actually still living there who haven't been evicted yet or haven't been removed in some way. So that forces Superman, just in case people were worried that this was some kind of cocky Superman who didn't care about people. No, he really does. He stops his flight to save these people from the buildings being collapsed and holds the building up to let everybody out as the tanks roll in and fire the nets at him and start shooting at him and everything. And he fights the tanks by breaking the wrecking ball off of the crane that was knocking the building down and smashing their treads off. And it's really just wonderfully kinetic.
Yeah.
There's really real kineticism in the art. Like when he rips the net apart on himself, like you can really feel the tension in the wire snapping, and there's a great sense of motion and weight as he attacks very good art. But of course, all the people, the tank shot actually brings him to his knees. This is a Superman. That's the level of power he's operating on right now. Like Luthor notes that he's more powerful now than he was 6 months ago. So he's still growing into his powers. So he'll be flying and doing everything else before you know where we are. But all of the people whose lives he just saves crowd around him to protect him from the tanks, and off he goes again. He evades.
Can you really jump over the Metropolis Tower? Never tried from here. Stand back. We'll see. Thanks.
And he manages to jump away, and he's lost. And then Detective Blake says, "Used to be laws in this town, like gravity. Remember gravity?"
Perfect.
So we got faster than a speeding bullet. We just got able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. We're getting all these things again. Yeah, I wonder where that's going.
And he's but we see, of course, that he's actually just grabbed a passing blimp, because they have those, and used that to get away because he's not flying yet.
Very Batman animated series.
Maybe it was maybe there was a gate going on.
He descends to a nearby roof and switches into human disguise, where we get then the quick sketch of a member of the supporting cast. What's his name? Mrs. Nixley, who's his landlady. There's a very Peter Parker sense about this Clark Kent. He is still doing work for the Daily Planet, but he is here living in a rat hole.
He's working for the competition, isn't he? He's working.
Yeah, he's not working for the Planet.
Right, working for the Cable newspaper. That's right.
Right. Lois makes a reference later on. Oh yeah, he works for the competition or something. At this point.
So he's hiding the fights he's gotten into from his landlady, struggling to make the rent, all the rest. So he goes to phone in the store. He's just made himself with Glenn Morgan, and he speaks to Jimmy and Lois, who are on the trail of Guns Grundig, who is Glenn Morgan's ex-enforcer. They follow him onto a train. Lois, says, "Don't tell Clark anything." He works for the rival newspaper. But when Clark finds out, now this is when I started to get a little bit confused about what goes on here. Now maybe you guys could. I'm not sure, what's going on here. So they get on a train. It was great. Now Clark says to them, he says not to get on any train. Okay. Now I don't understand why. I have read it. I've chosen to read it. I don't know if I'm correct or not. I don't know if the next issue will explain this to me a little more. That Glenn Morgan, when he was referring to cheap labor and no safety standards, he must have been referring to this presumably new monorail transport system.
I guess. I was a little lost too. I understand what you're saying.
The mention of how services are currently suspended. So I'm assuming all these trains are supposed to have been shut down. Because he confessed to that. I'm not sure. So so when Clark finds out that they're on the train, he goes to save them. But it turns out that I like the fact that Jimmy's phone goes zee 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 because it's like the signal watch. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then there's a bomb. And the bomb appears to be, again, there's no establishing shot to show us where the bomb is, so I'm assuming from the next page that the bomb is on the trestle, not on the train. And it is the trestle that is then blown out from under the train. Well, I guess really the only thing that I'm confused about is why the trains aren't supposed to be running. That's.
I don't think you're the only one. I was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
if that's...
that part was a little confusing. But yeah.
I'm not clear if it's because Glenn Morgan confessed to using like substandard methods, or well, Superman arrives, forces the doors open. This train won't stop unless I make it stop. Why? I don't know. I don't understand. Why won't the train stop? Is the train supposed to be running out of control? Because it's basically because we don't hear the other side of the conversation Clark has with his editor, Mr. Taylor, who tells him something is happening right now. And I don't know if it's that Taylor has told him that General Lane and Lex Luthor have orchestrated this. Because, Superman, he breaks his way into the pressurized tunnel, and more powerful than a locomotive, he catches the train, and like, brilliant, doing things. Of course, he's not really more powerful than a locomotive yet. That's it, yes, he can catch faster than speeding.
That's
yes,
one really long
but
train, though.
Yeah.
Look how long that train is.
Yeah, but you can, and what's great though is you see this whole shot where it's like he runs into the front of the train, and then you see his ears explode.
Yeah, his ears actually burst from the impact. He is not more powerful than a locomotive yet.
Yeah.
But he seems to be slowing the train down, and then the bomb goes off, and I can only presume that the bomb is not on the train because the train is still intact.
Well, because
the track.
You do see
it looks like it's the track exploding, is what it looks like.
You do see the bomb attached to like the bottom of the track.
A piece of. You don't see it attached to the track, though. You see it attached to a piece of sheet metal.
It looks like metal, but you can't tell.
It could be anywhere. I mean, I think is the fact that you see a screw falling out of it supposed to be a reference to the poor safety standards?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Presumably trains have been stopped because of this. But, well, Superman, the train flies out of the tunnel. Superman tries to guide it down as it falls. There's the mysterious woman standing quite calmly in all the chaos. And then we cut back to Lane and Luthor, where it is established quite vaguely that Glenn Morgan and Luthor set this up. That this was orchestrated by them. But so I'm not clear if like the train is only running because they stopped all other trains and only had that one run, or I'm just genuinely not clear. I mean, I can see what has happened. I understand what's happened. I just don't quite get the specifics of it. But I get this great speech from Luthor talking about brown tree snakes and cane toads and how foreign life forms will disrupt and destroy native ecologies. You wanted Superman, General Lane, dead or alive. Behold, I give you Superman. And there's Superman pinned unconscious to the wall of the Daily Planet on the end of the train. The world's
I love
big...
that.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
That's great.
Right at 8
train
o'clock,
pinning
too.
him to the wall. Yeah.
Straight up at 8 o'clock in the evening. Good job.
But look, you get these little, and that's it across the board, where there's little things that I haven't mentioned here, which is clear foreshadowing for the future. Like this little Weasley guy, he's coming back. There's something more going on there.
Yeah. Well, there's this one panel with him. That he has that look in his face, like, yeah, things are going to plan like I wanted to.
Yeah, he goes into the elevator. He says, "Won't somebody help Mr. Glenn Morgan?"
Yeah,
of course, no one sees him disappear because they're all worried about what else is going on around. They're looking for.
I think most significantly is the fact that he's stolen Glenn Morgan's tie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got some,
yeah.
got it wrapped around his hand there, and then Glamorgan doesn't have his tie in the next panel. So I don't know what's going on there. And then whenever, just before the bomb goes off, you actually all you see is like his eyes and his glasses, but you can tell it's him from the mole. And the dialogue he says, "A done deal, Mr. Glenmorgan. Now we can get started." And he's just watching the train over the lip of his car window. So again, I don't know if he's supposed to have anything to do with this. I legitimately don't know. I'm assuming that I'm hoping that this.
I guess he must have paid. That must have been what it is. He must have paid him off to bomb the track. You know?
Perhaps. Yeah,
I guess that's where it starts, because he's meeting with him, and he says, how about a drink to celebrate this turning point? Maybe he's just made the deal with him to blow up the track.
Yeah, you could be onto something there.
I guess
and
that's
that would
what
be
that is.
That'd be why this is the only train running, because this is the one train at this specific time. Yeah, you could be on.
That's what it is.
That.
See,
yeah.
we need 2 brains to figure it out, McFeely.
Yeah, right.
This start is great. We need 2 brains to figure this out.
He's got 2 brains in his head. And it's like, but we haven't even mentioned Mr. Guns Grundig at all. What a fantastic name. Gus Guns Grundig. And like, Lois is just like, oh, the train's speeding up. We're going 200 miles an hour. Oh, and she's like, I'm trying to
Okay,
talk to
I
this
just
guy."
noticed something. What is this? Okay, look at the front of your book. Do you see the 2 cop cars? 1938. That's when Superman first.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
nice.
That's very cool. There's a couple of
Awesome.
things like that in Swamp Thing as well. Like the Len Wein, his creator, his name is branded on the digger, and I think the year of his introduction is the code to Alec Holland's safe. There's some stuff like that in Swamp
that's
Thing.
cool.
So that was cool. That's cool. I just
But
barely noticed that. I'm like, oh hey.
Yeah, and if you wondered where the hooded woman was, she was on the train. She was in
Yeah.
the crowd.
Yeah,
Yes, I heard.
Mr. Yeah, but this guy Grundig is like, if you got something to say it to the guns.
God,
And
it's
he's
so
getting
classic.
cigar in his
That's
mouth.
like you could do a little story about that guy. Yeah, it's like everybody who.
He didn't even drop his cigar.
No. Well, and what I love too is just the way that the shadow is cast over his eyes. It almost looks like he's wearing a domino mask.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a little of that. This is very golden agey gangster with gimmick, pulpy sort of thing.
Yeah.
Guns. He's that one gangster with the guns. Wait, no, hold on. But never,
Yeah, really.
Yeah, don't they all have guns? Yeah, Muggsy, get it, that bird. That sort of thing. It's real, Prohibition era gangstery stereotype. But it's like everybody that you meet in this for more than like 2 seconds, there's a little story sketched out around them. You have this overworked detective Blake who's probably 3 weeks away from retirement, and getting too old for this shit. And he's got an ulcer, and he just can't deal with the fact that superhumanity has just decided to introduce itself to his beat. And you've got General Lane, who's got no patience for any of this superhuman stuff at all. You meet the landlady. There's an old casual reference here the landlady makes to some friends that stopped by earlier. 2 men and a woman, a blonde, very nice, very good looking. Thought they were actors. Don't know who that's supposed to be at all, And Jimmy and Lois, they have the different relationship that the way their relationship's going to start with Clark being Jimmy's friend first, and then presumably building up to that. No, it's like like Swamp Thing, like Batgirl, a far more functional first issue of a comic book than Justice League was. It fills you in on some of the supporting cast, gives you a nice self-contained action sequence, extended action sequence. You meet the villain. You get you understand what the hero's motivations are and the way he's manipulating his superhero identity and his secret identity. And what it's what it is. What each of these is. But of course they end on to be continued. But what each of them is a successful first part of a story. Whereas what Justice League was the successful first 22 pages of a graphic novel.
Yes.
It did not have that self-contained thing where you had a functional action sequence built around establishing a supporting cast or introducing the major players of your book. You only met 1/3 of the cast. But anyway, that's not a week for Justice League. So that's Action Comics. That's what I think about Action Comics.
It totally lived up to its title, Action
it
Comics.
was probably say that.
Of course, I'm interested to see what will ultimately be some of the threads and things, because we know there's bound to be.
Oh yeah, I missed there was one like when Luthor is like when Lane's running up to Luthor. You knew this would happen. Down his life. Blah, 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 blah. Has anyone else even bothered to look at the sky? There's something past the orbit of Neptune.
Yeah.
Closer. Yeah, that's
What's up?
coming back.
I got a
don't know.
question for you. So, has this any tie-in with Flashpoint? Because
Nope.
because I was thinking because they're talking about how he's getting his superpowers, and how quickly he's evolving and stuff. I'm like, could that tie in with the Project Superman? I don't know.
That's literally just an excuse to do an underpowered Superman now and a properly powered Superman in the present day.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if time, because they make, obviously there's a big point about the time, because it's like straight up 8 o'clock that Superman gets captured.
Didn't Luthor have like so much time
Luthor
before it had to be
until
done?
8 o'clock. He had specifically timed this whole
And he
thing.
timed it so it ended exactly
at
when
8
his time
o'clock?
was
Okay,
up.
is
He
that what
took
it
the
was?
Because he mentioned earlier about, hey, I could have took even more of your money, but he says I'm an American and I'm not gonna bankrupt the government or something to do this. He gave him a discount to capture Superman. That was awesome.
Awesome.
Because I'm American.
The feel that I get off this as well is that this story will lead to the fall of Glenn Morgan. They call him like Mr. Metropolis, the fall of him, and then who's just handy to just slip in there and maybe take up that role? Might be Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's like most modern day
Remember?
retelling.
Right.
Most modern day retellings of Superman tend to start with, Secret Origin is the most recent example, tend to start with Lex Luthor already entrenched and in power, and Superman's appearance in Metropolis completely throwing off the balance of his little empire. It's the way Man of Steel worked when John Byrne did it. It's the way Secret Origin works, stories like that. That's why making him chums with Superman in Smallville tends to hamper that. And this does not seem to be following that pattern at all. It does not seem to be too interested in that. But it could still. You never know. But Lex Luthor is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, it's good. I'm like,
Yeah.
Lex Luthor,
I like
he's not
it.
big and beefy and brawny. I don't know, something about the way Morales is drawn Luthor, and that really sings to me. I like it a lot.
I like a Superman comic.
Yeah, what the hell? I know,
Isn't that
it's weird.
strange?
I know. Well, I actually like Project Superman.
It must
That
be all the
wasn't too
drugs
bad.
I'm on. That's got to be it.
Has to be.
That's got to be it.
Well,
So
No, because I'm not a Superman fan either. Is
Yeah.
the thing.
I'm not really either, but I really enjoyed this. I think like it's a very different kind of comic to Swamp Thing. Yeah, I'm not sure which one I enjoyed more. I suppose probably Action if you put it in my head. But
I
that's
was
because
thinking I liked Swamp Thing better, but as we discussed Action, I'm beginning to think I like Action better.
yeah, it's a lot of layers, a lot of levels. I mean,
Talking about it and getting it out there and then figuring things out that didn't quite make sense. Now I'm starting to like Action even better.
yeah.
I still preferred Animal Man. I really thought that was the biggest surprise for me.
And
Because I wasn't even interested in picking that one up.
I hate to say this, but it's like I can totally see myself now, because I know those are going to go on, discount, dollar off or whatever in a couple weeks. Like, I could see myself picking some of those up digitally and checking them out that way.
Oh yeah.
Hey, well, look at that. I mean, you certainly can't do that with the print copy. For as much as I shouldn't big up digital or whatever, you do have to look at that. Nearly everything that's come out from the New 52 this week has sold out and has gone to second printing. Justice League's already gone to a third printing.
Yeah.
At this point, the second printing is sold out now before it's even been released. But so, what does a person do if they hear all these good reviews and now legitimately are physically incapable of acquiring a copy from the retailer? Of course, they could steal it online, but bibbidi bobbidi bop, digital copy.
There you go.
Presented right there.
Yeah,
you
it's
don't have
Really
to say,
smart. I mean, because if I could do that with Marvel, like I missed X-Men Schism #2, and for the life of me, I cannot find a copy of that comic anywhere.
There
Got
you
number
go.
3, I can't find number 2. If it was available digitally, I would buy that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But it helps
No.
people as well. It's like now, before people would say, "Oh, I missed the first issue, I'll get it in the trade." Now it's like it's a few clicks away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah,
you enjoy the issue if you're a supporter of
Like I
print.
said,
You go out and buy the rest of the
last-
issues in print format.
Yeah, last week was my first digital. I didn't mind it. I still like the feel of physical
Yeah.
comics. But
Yeah.
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 But like I said, I see me doing that, especially just for like the discount for stuff I want to read, but I may not like keep up with the series or something like that. But well, we did a bang up job of keeping it a short show.
God damn it! Seriously.
It's like we
Come
just
on, it's the
Secret.
first week of the 52. What did you expect?
yeah.
So do you think
sakes.
any of these are going to be one of the ones that are axed?
Not
I
any of
think
the ones.
Stormwatch.
Stormwatch
What?
maybe.
I think Stormwatch maybe.
I don't
I've
know.
heard an awful lot of mixed opinions on Stormwatch. I've heard a lot of people saying good
It
things
wasn't
about them.
bad. It wasn't bad. It's just that my curiosity, I'm done. I mean, I don't need to get issue 2. I was like, okay, it didn't knock my socks off. It wasn't bad. It was great because there's like something like there's a line in it in which like the moon forms a hand and somebody says, "Looks like the moon's gonna attack us," and I was like, "That's pretty awesome," you know. But otherwise, I don't care about these characters anymore.
I hate to say it, but
Probably
I don't think JLI is going to be long for the world. I just don't.
Certainly, you know, I ordered. Well, yeah, I think I've told you guys before about how, as far as our comic ordering process goes, just because we're a small store, we limit our orders to the standing order customers. You know, we just order in people for their pool lists, and if anybody wants anything, they can order it with us. Well, we ordered an extra 20 copies of Detective and JLI to just put out in a small display at the front counter to see if any, you know, I'm sold out of Detective, and I still have more than half the JLIs left.
Yeah. So, I got a feeling, like I said, I mean, I would love to say that JLI is going to last, but I don't think it's long for the world.
I don't think Hawk and Dove will probably even make it to.
Yeah, that's
No, so we're going to start to build our canceled 26 list.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I
When does
wouldn't mind
Grifter
Green
come
Arrow.
out?
We,
I wouldn't mind Green Arrow if something actually happens and
Yeah,
I
Green
think-
Arrow's not going to go anywhere
Yeah,
because
Green-
it's Green Arrow. They
Yeah.
won't cancel Green
Yeah, they
Arrow.
won't. cancel Green Arrow.
I wish it would go somewhere.
It may. I mean, like I said, we're just at first issue. We got a little bit of time to let some of this stuff
Let's
kind of
Let's
simmer.
not end a generally positive podcast talking about what one sucked.
Exactly. So I think this is a good start. I mean, I think I'll
Yeah.
just say that.
Definitely.
I mean,
oh God, I mean,
I
after
think-
last week, like this is definitely like
The problem
you know,
is,
I
it's
only
killing my
read
wallet.
3.
yeah, it's killing
Yeah.
your wallet. Exactly.
I mean, I only read 3 of them, but this week it's like, yeah, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah,
Like,
I
after
feel
that.
much
I mean,
better.
I only have Batwoman next week. I don't know
See,
about you
I
guys.
just-
I only have.
I've got a few. I think I have to.
DC
I always have
one-
to reference my list in here.
I have no idea what's coming out next week,
Okay,
so I've
next
probably got
week-
a couple.
Next week for DC is Batman and Robin, Batwoman,
Yes.
Deathstroke, Demon Knights, Frankenstein, Agent of Shade, Green
I've got
Lantern,
Demon Knights.
Grifter. I know everyone's doing Grifter.
Oh, yeah.
Lost, Region Lost, Mr. Terrific, Red Lanterns, Resurrection Man. There we go. Suicide Squad and Superboy.
Ooh, that's the week.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna try. I'm gonna try Suicide Squad. I'm gonna try Superboy. I'm gonna try Demon Knights because Paul Cornell's doing it, and it's Etrigan, and it's and
I'll pick up whatever
something
my
else.
comic book place it has available.
Yeah.
I may try Batman and Robin. So I may try a couple of them, but I'm not getting all of them at least.
Yeah,
I might
I've
give,
got Batwoman and
I
Green
might
Lantern.
give Frankenstein a look.
I've got Batwoman and Green Lantern, so
And I might
Oh, we're
try
talking
Batwoman.
about
I
next-
should get Batwoman.
definitely we'll be talking
You
about.
should
one.
get Batwoman. I figured you would
should
be.
get Batwoman,
Yeah.
shouldn't I?
Yeah, you should. We're all
I
getting that.
should.
Or as
Even
a
though
way to
it's
see
not a
how.
real DC 52 book, even though it's
Yeah.
a book that was like delayed for a year or something.
That's really odd.
All right, we're going to get the crap out of here. So, anyway, check out the website, fanboyversus.com. Follow us on Twitter if you watch the video, which you should. It's always available on blip.tv at blip.tv/tfradio. It's a good way to check out the show, or find our channel on YouTube, which is TF Radio Network. Twitter, follow us, Fanboy VS. Of course, all of our Twitters are available, again, if you watch the video, which we recommend you do. Thanks for joining us for episode 70, because I now can keep up with the number at the bottom of the screen, which is right now. So, that's it. Chris Triplett, Chris McFeely, Nicole Hale, thanks so much for joining us. And please, tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus...
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.